Hello and welcome back to CCS charity event from Macmillan Cancer Support. Now, before we go any further, you may have noticed that there was a little bit of a milestone that was completed where I need to shave my head. So we're going to get under that and Joseph's going to get to see it all right in front of you. Everybody's going to get to see it. So I'm about to shave my head. Now, I've got a towel so hair doesn't go everywhere. You just got to bear with me. Headset's coming off and so's the hair.
Amazing. I didn't even realise we reached that.
Oh. So here we go. Clippers. Now, this is the smallest attachment I've got for my clippers. You're just going to have to bear in mind with this. I'll do my best. But this is as bold as it's going to get me. But here we go. Straight off. Straight out middle. How about that?
Very anti-mohawk.
Hey, it's going. That looks stupid. We'll get there eventually, bear with me. It's going to take a while. Halfway though.
I'm just helplessly smiling. This is just brilliant content now.
We're getting there. The sooner we get this done, the sooner we get the rest of the racing underway. Oh. Halfway. Hey, that looks so bad. Should I do Harvey Two-Face? Is that what we're going with? Oh. I have to keep looking at the screen to make sure I'm getting it all. Where are we? There.
Are you just going to be sitting in a...
There you are, you're getting it. All shaved live on screen. A promise is a promise, we've hit the milestone.
Ollie, I see Joseph is vibing. I'm vibing. I mean, he's either going to be sat in a bush of hair for the next couple of hours, unless he gets a Hoover out. Can somebody donate a Hoover? $16.80.
How's it looking?
Incredible.
Am I sexy yet?
If you can hear me, you look fantastic.
Oh. Are we there? I think we're there. Right. Let's have a look at there. Missing loads here. To go track side. The drivers are ready. Well, getting to the track. The countdown timer is starting. So you're going to come to our little pre-race screen where we get the one-shot qualifying underway. Well, I had a look. So yeah, I've done my wild card. I've done my bit for the charity side of things. I've got no hair, so I think that's me settled and ready to get underway. But nevertheless, the drivers are getting themselves ready for what will be their one-shot qualifying. But which setup are they going to choose? There's 5 to choose from, and on a track like this, you want to be running at least some downforce to stick to the corners, because the suspension is going to be absolutely diabolical. These drivers are really going to have to try and keep on the nerve, keep on the focus, and keep that car within those white lines, because it's going to be understeery, it's going to be slippy and slidey. These setups are going to be burning through these tyres.
You're quite right. The wings are going to do most of the work. The suspension and whatnot isn't going to be tuned to the meta, which is often just, you know, a right, left sort of ordeal. So, yeah, it's going to be quite interesting. I think max downforce will be the setup, but you'll soon notice, I think, even in this one-shot qualifying down the straight, you'll see who's gone for the slightly lesser downforce package, and there might be a really tricky customer in the race.
Obviously, we're on board with Zach Styler now. So we come towards the end of the first sector. Seems to be the fastest man on the field, setting a fastest purple sector 1 so far. Francesco Lago looking to try and close up on this qualifying time. Can we see him challenge for what could be a pole position? But for now, Zach Styler still holding out. Krabs is also very close, but just not close enough to take it away. It looks like Zach Styler is being the fastest man on the field so far, even with these difficult preset setups. Let's see if anybody else can get a little bit higher up there. Kean Gordondorp not doing too well, although it's a name that you'd expect to see up there in the fight and in the top 5 at least. Sat there in 7th at the moment, as well as Francesco Lago, all struggling on the setups. Kean Gordondorp moving up and down, just can't seem to find any better time. But for Zach Styler, it will be the fastest time on the board. Comes to that checkered flag, so 108.690. Wow. Beautiful time indeed. Sets the premise by quite a margin.
I wasn't expecting half a second gap. I mean, with Silo, it's qualifying as his best friend and usually conversion from pole position as well. But half a second with preset setups ain't bad going at all. It feels like he's got every trick in the F1 book nailed by this point in time. But Krabs, Miska Mandan, Leo, Franek making up a top 5, and Kian down in P7. I suspect he's got a bit more of the locker in the race. Maybe he was using that to try and understand how this setup works.
Absolutely. Now there you see your finishing session. Zach in the tops, Krabs just behind, Misha behind, Leo, Franek, Rapid, Kian Gordondorp, Francesco Lago, Jeremy and Ryan doing the top 10. Luke Sawyer, Nadal, Joseph Black, the A-Team, Mango Slayer, Raza Gamer, Jaden Squires, Mexico, Taboo Dwarf and Robin finishing out your 20 drivers in this qualifying session. We're going to go full screen because we're about to get going for 36 laps on preset setups. Don't go anywhere, the racing's about to begin. And the sky's looking a little bit grey. Could there be a spot of weather on the way?
I hope so. I think it will really mix up proceedings even more, especially as, well, I'm going to keep stating the obvious. There is absolutely nothing the drivers can do to one of the 5 setups that they have picked. Did they spot any rain on the the radar in that qualifying session that's swayed them more towards the higher downforce setup? I mean, time will soon tell, but when you see clouds like this on the F1 game, it usually means there's some sort of interchangeable conditions. But it could do the reverse and go back to more sunny skies. So, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean rain.
Absolutely, nice. Always a bit of an unknown, but as the lights are lit, it is 3, 4, 5 lights. The grid is hot, the drivers are ready. And for the second half of the charity event, we are all systems go and back to racing. Beautiful getaway from Zach Styler there. You see some drivers trying to capitalise on the slower starts from some. There's a spinning Aston Martin there, like Luke Sawyer, almost sliding, flying through. Zach Kian Gordondorp dropping down the order even, struggling to try and come to terms with the grid limits. Contact though with Raza Gamer. He's sent for a spin in the first sector. Another car's further back. Mango Slayer becoming a sandwich between the Mercedes, trying to fight his way through the field and gain up positions as we look back to Luke Sawyer now going side by side with Jeremy coming up towards the fast flat right-hander here into sector 2, and already we're under a virtual safety car.
Yeah, we've lost Jaden Squires up the hill. Not quite sure how that's happened, but Potential pinch point as the track narrows on the run down to turn 7, I believe it is. But what's interesting with the tyres, lots of soft tyres on at the minute. Just 7 drivers are on the hard compound at the minute. So maybe is there going to be an early shower in this race? I do wonder. Nuclear Nadal also has no front wing. That's a non-negotiable. He'll have to come in and change that one, as the chaotic start certainly at the back, but at the front, it's more or less as you were. Francesco Largo ahead of Franek in quite a key change.
Well, we're already under safety car in lap 1. Some drivers struggling to get the grip down and get the power down on these unknown setups. You know, they're not to optimum performance. These drivers are very much used to driving at the optimum performance. We've seen Zach Styler and Krabs going into the pits to swap out for some hard compounded tyres. Now, it's interesting to see the softs being used on the opening laps, which to me, I sort of expect, especially with Zandvoort being such a burner on the tyres, you burn through these tyres like no tomorrow, even with a good setup. So with a bad setup, you're going to be wanting to use all the compounds available to you and try and make yourself survive in this race.
Yeah, indeed. It's about using at the right time. And the A team has gone on to intermediate tyres. So there you go. We are seeing signs that the weather gods are having an impact earlier on, but the question is he going to burn out those tyres? I mean, this could be genius in the Williams camp and something we have actually seen before from them in real life. It's that beautiful hybrid livery with the white colour scheme on the front wing. It's absolutely gorgeous as it flies over the hill, but it's got to be careful. Don't burn out those tyres if the safety car comes in quickly here, and I think it might do once all the drivers are bunched up. It doesn't yet look like that sky has the dark twang to it to produce any rain, so that is a proper gamble.
Now, if we are expecting the wet weather to come, then I wouldn't expect him to box now, of all things, because there's no rain even falling from the sky. He's just going to superheat those intermediates, burn away the vital tread that he's going to need when the rain starts to fall. So maybe this is just one of those old strategy calls. He's just using these tyres in the meantime while we're under safety car conditions. Maybe he's going to dive into the pits, go onto the hards. Like I said, that with the setups, the tyres are a bit unknown at the moment. It's known to be a tyre burner here in Zandvoort, and there he goes, diving back into the pits, just trying to go around the track one more time and save a bit of tyres, I think.
Yeah, just a holding tyre, placeholder, if you will. So yeah, maybe he's sent us all to the shops there thinking that there might be some rain. I mean, I've sort of manifested it at this point in time that eventually there might be some in this race, but not at the moment. Most drivers now onto the hard tyres. We saw a bit of trouble in Saudi Arabia, didn't we, just before the break with some long stints. So yeah, they're going to need another safety car, I think, just to break up this race a little bit more.
Absolutely. Now, things are just a little bit chilled and a little bit relaxed. You've only seen about half a lap of actual chaos and carnage before we saw Jaden Squires put that Scarlet Red Ferrari into the barrier, struggling to come to terms with the grip so far, where some drivers have had that better start. Now, your pole sitter Zach Styler down to P8 after choosing to box, whereas other drivers that have started on the hard compounded tyre have picked up those places and moved up in the order. Mishka Mandan, he's sat there now leading the way and will take us away with the restart.
He will indeed. Safety car in this lap. A short but sweet tour from the virtual burnt Mylander, and he will now become the de facto safety car and lead us away. It's always an exciting experience, especially if you're not as used to it as some of the others. But when will he go? Because he's actually following that safety car quite closely. Only he will know when the time is right. But yeah, this will soon show us who's got the higher downforce, because a lower downforce package should start to really fly past some other cars on this straight here. Let's go racing again then. Misha, take it away.
Nice and calm, weaving left and right, generating what left of the temperature they can produce before it's flat to the floor. And away we go, taking it all the way to the checkered flag. There we go. The power is down, and some driver have been caught in this car, spinning it in the wall. And that's yellow flags in Sector 3. That's Taboo Dwarf sent for a spin. He's lost his front wing. He's managed to get going again, but he's ultimately going to have to box and get that repaired. Further down the field, we see Kian Gordondorf there making up moves, moving up the order. That's Francesco Largo. He's had a moment as well. He's been sent for a spin. The McLaren struggling to get going again. Oh, no. Oh, wow.
This is incredible, Corey. Sorry, Mango got caught up there, I think, with Jeremy. The Ferrari and the Haas coming together. They lock wheels on the exit of turn 3 at the banking. A quite incredible restart, and already we've seen the return of a virtual safety car. Maybe, no, actually, the full safety car's come out. It's in Sector 1 already. So again, not even half a lap. We've not completed a full lap of racing yet. We've already seen the return of the safety car, and I really think traction is the biggest thing. Yeah, they've got maybe an advantage on those warm softs they were handed to them in the one-shot qualifying, but most drivers here have been served up cold hards, and suddenly they've just forgotten how to put the power down because they're so used to the setup doing a lot of the work for them that, well, yeah, this unfamiliar territory has just caught so many drivers out.
Absolutely, you know, struggling to get the optimum restart that they would like to. You know, looking at Tabudwar, who was just sent spinning down the main straight, unable to get the power down, trying to gain some positions, and unfortunately met with a bit of contact and sent into the inside wall, the pit straight wall, and is now going to have to suffer with the wing damage and get it changed. And these setups certainly throwing a spanner in the works, because I don't think we've seen a full lap of racing yet. These drivers struggling here.
Yeah, Sector 1 at the end of both occasions that we've seen the deployment. So already more pit stops. Somebody better be keeping track of this. Luckily, the game does it for us, so we don't really have to worry. But again, maybe just seeing some placeholder tyres, just so they don't scrub those hard tyres for when they need a long stint on them later on. But Jeremy and Mango certainly had to come in with damage. Francesco Largo as well. He lost his front wing. He spun, I think, on his own by the looks of things, on the exit of turn 1. So again, it's not discriminating anybody, this unique situation. And I hope Mercedes have enough front wings as well, because Taboo Dwarf also had to come in for a front wing change. I'd be amazed if they have any more.
Well, already the tyres are starting to look a little bit unknown for these drivers. You see some come in for the medium, some on the softs, and another one swapping for a fresh set of hards. So with all the safety cars coming out so far, you're using these sets, putting a bit of scrubbing on them. Are you sure that's what you want to do? Because coming into later in the Grand Prix, if you're going to need a set of tyres, you might not have them.
Yeah, quite right. Again, already at this point in the race, the selection of tyres, would that be soft, medium or harder, is already kind of out the window for some of these, because they've already made a couple of pit stops. They're already using more tyres than they would anticipate throughout the course of an entire Grand Prix length. And there's still over 30 laps to go, 31 as we cross the line. So, well, yeah, really a difficult choice on strategy here as Franek comes back into the pit lane, again using those softs, and they will have a lot more softs as a placeholder to go back onto a harder compound, and that will be down at AlphaTauri a set of mediums.
Oh, bold, brave strategies coming out of some drivers looking towards Mexico TV, who's still on the soft compound tyres. Now, made the best choice to just stay out while all this carnage and chaos is happening. He's not been able to push on those softs. They're going to be feeling alright, I've got to say, after 4 laps, which is a bit unknown for the soft tyres on this game cycle. You get into about 3 or 4 laps and they already start to feel the burn, they start to feel a bit grim and a bit worn out, and then you're forced into that tyre management phase. But for Mexico, he's not even had the chance to push on them yet.
No, absolutely not. But that might, if he's not putting much heat into them throughout the course of the safety car period, he's still going to be probably under 10% on those. So he might be able to turn this into a really handy one-stop, whereby he gets an undercut and a nice long stint towards the back end of this race without a real concern on a set of hard tyres. So this, again, might be playing into his favour. I mean, time will tell. But another safety car restart to come here. I think the biggest taking from the last one is don't get too greedy on the power. It's probably worth losing a couple of positions than stacking it into the wall straight away, even though the adrenaline's running high. And I know it's late for pretty much everybody out there on the circuit right now, especially those doing back-to-back-to-back races. You know, just best to take this one cautiously, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely. Just get yourself warmed up and in the zone, especially if you are doing double headers, triple header races. You don't want to burn yourself out putting all your effort into this Grand Prix, and you've got 2 more to go. But for Mishka, getting ready once again, taking us all the way to the line for the safety car restart. There it is, foot to the floor, and away we go once again, catching out some drivers as we see Joseph Black falling down the order. Francesco Largo moving up on that, capitalising on that. Luke Sawyer going side by side with Razagama. Right, oh, not Razagama, Robin even. Robin almost getting a move up to the inside, had a bit of a snap and a wobble, couldn't get through. Now goes for a dive into the hairpin, trying desperately to get past this Aston Martin, but unable to find that open door work so far. Further to the front, Zach Styler going side by side with Rappi, moving on through, whereas Razagama fighting it out with Ryan now, still side by side. I don't think Razagama's going to be able to pull that one off, able to hold off, and Ryan keeps that P5 position so far. Robin now making a send on Luke Sawyer and moving up into P7, finally getting that V car up there and putting himself in a position to maybe send it to the inside now, as he does to Razagama, slips on through. Beautiful move there from Robin. Further down, that's Jeremy trying to battle with the Mercedes of Nuclear Nadal, and he's able to get on through. Nadal now looking for the long way around with a send to the outside, looking to hoping and switch it back to the inside, unable to find that one out. But Francesco Largo has found an open door on the outside and has pulled ahead of the Mercedes driver.
Yeah, he did indeed. Zach Styler was on the move, couple of moves made throughout the course of that opening restart lap, and as we cross the line, we have finally completed a lap of racing, 7 laps into the race. So, well done, guys. Long may this continue. Franek and Krabs further back. There's some drivers really struggling with front brakes. I imagine they can't change the brake pressure. I don't think that'll be defaulted to 100% or at the very least near the maximum. So a lot more work they're having to do just to try and get the car stopped. Brake bias, of course, you can change within the car, so that won't be a problem at all. But yeah, certainly requiring more effort.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy, that in the mid-pack coming into Sector 2. We just had 4 cars side by side, and there goes Mango for a slide. Oh no, looks like he's been a little bit too ripe on that one. He sent himself really washing out wide, fell to the back of that train, and we're almost 3 wide there for P14 as we see Taboo Dwarf and Krabs also getting themselves into the mix, trying to slip on through. That's Krabs going through. Mexico holds 4th, 15th, and Taboo Dwarf's going to have to wait a little bit longer, but that was a 3 wide moment between these 3, all scrapping for this midfield position, really trying to fight the way through the order. Here goes Taboo Dwarf, found an open door to the inside. It's now going to be forced to go the long way around. Those softs are starting to slip away from Mexico. Although we expected them to be in a good position, doesn't look like they are.
No, indeed, it's really, really chaotic in there. We're getting some great racing, a lot of back and forth, and if anything, it's really reminds me of the 2026 regulations at the minute. Just drivers being able to fight back on the straight around a track like this where they're so short and the corners are banked long. Yeah, we are getting some crazy overtakes at this moment in time. Mexico TV's dropped all the way to the rear of the field after looking in the promising position, a unique position with his strategy. He's missing an end plate, and unfortunately that's another driver suffering some early damage in this one. There's probably millions of pounds worth of carbon fibre on the circuit at this moment in time. Francesco Largo continues his fight back. Actually, Luke Sawyer's the one fighting back up the inside. A nice battle here as we approach the end of lap 9. Down in towards turn 11 and 12 at the chicane. Can Francesco Largo finally get this one done? No, not yet. Still going side by side, but putting the power down. It looks like, with a bit of a nudge on the Aston Martin. Oh, it wasn't clean in the end, but I don't think he'll care.
No, he's managed to get through it on that one. Luke Sawyer did well to try and defend and fight hard, but to no avail. He's ended up falling down to P10. He's now got Jeremy breathing down his neck. Pulled a little bit of a fakie there as we see Krabs fighting hard against Nuclear Nadal. Does manage to get on through. The 2 Mercedes driver now bunched up together. Taboo Dwarf with that disastrous race start, picking up the damage in lap 1, has been trying to recover ever since, and we've not been running 2 laps of racing, mostly under the safety cars, not had many opportunities to try and fight back those positions, and he's now just trying the best he can at damage limitation.
Yeah, damage limitation indeed. 2-second gap for Zach Styler already, certainly generating headlines from Grumpy and Gapped, he says. Franek and Jeremy side by side. Jeremy's been involved in a lot. He backs out of that one quite quickly. The Red Bulls are flying. JSR Ryan now ahead of the Alpine. Leo is watching King Godendorp fly around the outside. It looks like he was looking for a move himself, but here comes a Flying Dutchman in his home country. Around the outside he goes in the end, on the march.
Here we see Razagamer almost getting a run on Leo, but unable to make his Alpine into the inside line there. Now he's going to try and look for a bit of a send into turn one, being squeezed by that Kicksauber. Later on the break, slight contact, almost tyre hooking. The door's been opened. Francesco Largo says, thank you, I'll stick my car in there, but can't seem to get the traction to pull on through. He's going to sit behind and wait for another opportunity to come his way and to place that McLaren in the optimum position to pick up those pieces. Leo and Razagamer still scrapping hard there as we get going through the first sector. Now into the second sector, Leo managing to just maintain off Francesco Largo, but lost out to Razagamer, and there the door's been opened once again. Francesco Largo to the inside with a big send and a brave opportunistic move to pull ahead of that Kicksauber.
Yeah, indeed. Certainly showing no signs of, a lack of fight here this evening, and that goes for everybody. FST Robin fighting with Ryan. Again, so back and forth at this moment in time. Drivers excelling on different areas of the racetrack. Maybe we should do preset setups more often. That's satire before anybody actually thinks about taking that idea on board. Yeah, you'll get a lot of unhappy drivers and probably nobody racing after a couple of weeks. But on one-off occasions like this is serving up an absolute treat. Red Bull versus V-Carb in towards the first corner. They practically look the same. Both white, both stunning liveries on those cars. Can Ryan get this one done to make it a Red Bull 2-3? He'll need his teammate to help him out here. He has done as he gave him that slipstream. But the switchback from Robin to the Hugenholtz and around the outside at the banking. Oh, he's broke traction and Ryan's been sent into the wall as a result. Ryan was an innocent bystander in all of that. I think he kept it out the wall. It'd be amazing if he did. No, he does have some damage on the left-hand side. That's so unlucky after what was such a good battle.
Absolutely, Ryan really fighting through the order, making up position after position when we got to green flags. Has just been caught in a bit of a mishap with Robin there. Slight contact after Robin lost a bit of traction on the back end. Slams into the side of him, sends that Red Bull packing into the barrier, and he's now falling down the order to P14. Disaster for Ryan there in JSR. But as we look on to the front of the field, it's Robin now who sets sights on Mishka, trying to get closer still, but Zach Styler completely checking out of this Grand Prix. 5.5 seconds clear, seems to secure victory for his team.
Yeah, I don't think he's looking back at this moment in time. I don't even think his render distance in his mirrors can generate the next car. So I think he's looking pretty sweet out in front, Zach Styler. But behind is where all the action is. Let's pretend this is the battle for the leads, because I think it would be a lot more exciting if it was. FST Robin, though, versus Mr. Mandan. And, well, another Red Bull for Robin to try and overtake if he... Well, he needs to do it a lot cleaner than the first one, I've got to say. I mean, it was just unlucky. Again, it was just a case of breaking traction, and that's been a running theme throughout the preset setup race. But yeah, we will hope it's a cleaner battle this time around.
Ian Gordon there looking for an inside line, which will switch to the outside. Unfortunately, not able to get it. Looking for a good old switcheroo, mediums versus hards. Unable to get his car in the optimum position for that overtake. He's still going to try and look to the inside. Just better on the braking, better with the traction, able to get the acceleration down better, being on that better compound for now. But for how much longer are the mediums going to stay better? We'll take another quick look at the tyres there. You can see that they're pretty levelled out on laps completed. But for Rappi, he's struggling to stay on the nerve and stay on the push. He's starting to drop a little bit of time to Robin ahead with this battle going on with Gordondorp, and as they go side by side once again into turn one, can Rappi pull out and move as it switches now? Slight contact onto the gravel and almost into the side of Francesco Largo. Brilliant reactions there from Largo to get out of the way and avoid contact with that Alpine car, and it does pick up the position. Says thank you very much. Now I've got a 3-lap tyre offset to catch Kian with.
The more micro oversteer at the first corner, just knocking the Alpine off the road. And again, just those late light reactions coming in clutch for Francesco Largo, and you will notice it, just a drop in reaction time at this stage. Depends how caffeinated everyone is at this point in time. Me, not many. I'm sticking the kettle on after this race. Luke Soy giving Leo a nudge, coming through the left-hand turn onto the short back straight. Really not long enough to get any sort of DRS move done. Will anybody stick a nose in here? No, they aren't. But yeah, still midway through this race, and Everybody treating like it's the last lap still, which is what we want to see, of course, in this event. But wow, yeah, certainly making it hard to follow at the best of times.
I'm on board with Krabs, who seems to be looking to try and make an opportunity arise as they go side by side, though, with P1, with P2 and P3 even. That's Mishka and Robin side by side into turn 1 and 2. But it's Mishka Mandem who's going to hold on to that position, with Robin not failing to try to take it away. We've had a lot of donations, and it was said earlier, Mishka's not looking to donate that position.
Yeah, not very charitable at all. At this point in time, and why not? It's a brilliant defensive performance so far. Is he just running that slightly lower downforce setup just to keep himself ahead? Because it doesn't look like DRS is doing Robin any favours at this moment in time. We'll watch it carefully down this straight. No DRS, of course, for the Red Bull. Telemetry flicking on. He is gaining, but Miska even harvesting. It didn't look like there was any significant closing speed there. The main straight will be our best bet, but yeah, I think that's also where the bulk of time lost to Zach Styler is coming from at this moment in time, because yeah, he hasn't got the outright race pace, but he's difficult to overtake.
Well, Zach Styler almost 9 seconds clear, just running his own little race. He's a one-man army up at the front of the pack. Nothing to worry about. It's Taboo Dwarf gets 10 seconds speeding in the pits. Unfortunate there, but trying to swap out those tyres, and he's just gone a little bit too quick, as we still see Robin all over that rear diffuser of Mishka Mandem ahead, whereas Kian Gordondorp and Francesco Largo are now starting to close up now, get ever closer, as Robin is looking to try and make a move stick around the outside. Just cannot seem to find an open door, but what he has allowed Kian to do is get ever closer, and now to the inside. Kian Gordondorp, the Aston Martin versus VCAV. Can he pull this one off as he still goes side by side into the second sector? Swinging it back round the right-hander. Swing it back around the left-hander to the inside. There's contact with Robin. Robin's been unsettled. The door has been open for Francesco once again. Seems to be a running theme for Largo here. Any opportunity, and that McLaren is right there to pick up the pieces, as now here comes Rappy trying to get through on Robin as well, trying to capitalise on all this unsettlement from the VCAB, but Robin managing to hold P5 as it goes. Now Mishka's got to be all over his mirrors to make sure he can hold off Gordondorp and Francesco Largo. They've been going strong. 14 laps for King Gordondorp on these medium tyres, which is a little bit unheard of, but with all the safety cars that you've seen, he's been able to just preserve the tyres for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I think the stewards are asleep this time of night, so Kim will get away with that one. He was miles back. He was absolutely miles back into the left-hander, but yeah, fair's fair at the end of the day. Robin will take that on the chin and just happily now sit behind two real stars of the F1 game. Oh, hang on, Corey. Do you see rain?
Maybe. Did I just see a little droplet then hit the tarmac? We're going to have to keep our eyes peeled. Maybe this is why we're seeing the tyres run for so long. These drivers have a little weather screen in front of them before they start a Grand Prix. They can see when the rain is going to fall or what area the rain is going to fall. And around the midway point, we're starting to see the clouds open. A couple little bit of drizzles there in the second sector, but nothing too heavy, nothing to worry about so far. But he's going to cool the tyres down just a little bit.
It didn't look like the skies had changed too much since the start of the race, but suddenly the heavens have slightly opened. Call it a bit more when it really starts to chuck it down. But yeah, certainly some drizzle around the circuit. It'll be a few laps before any intermediate tyres are thought about. But, you know, it's not every time that the track gets wet enough for intermediate. So it's a race, really, against these tyres, and they'll be screaming in pain even on the preset setups. They're not designed for tyre wear at all, these setups. So, yeah, a real race against the clock to see which wins. Team Pirelli or Team Weather?
Well, we're at the halfway point now, and what I did notice is towards the end of Sector 1, starting Sector 2, you're starting to see a little bit of rainfall, a little bit of drizzle, just a couple droplets starting to fall from the sky. And as well as you get around here in Sector 2, a couple little droplets as we're on board with Kean Gordon Dorp. He's trying to close up to Mishka there, but to no avail so far. Bit of a gap there towards the back end of the field. We see the A team swapping for the intermediates with a really, really early call. I feel like he's just going to burn those out before they get to any sort of useful effect. The rain is nowhere near harsh enough. I mean, you can get your umbrella out, but that's about it for now.
Yeah, they do animate that in the grandstands, don't they? So might actually see some umbrellas going up side by side between Leo and Krabs. Be an impressive move for Leo, considering his tyre delta 4 lap harder. Older tyres, sorry. They are both hard tyres, but 4 laps older for Leo. Couldn't get it done around the outside. Krabs with the superior grip, really. No surprises there at the end of the day. 19 of 36. A lead of over 12 seconds for Silo, aka Zach Styler. Can he pull that to about, well, it's about going about a second a lap at this moment in time. Predicting probably a 30-second gap come the end of this race. That's if there are no safety cars. It all depends on wet weather pace as well. It would be a monumental victory.
The rain is starting to come down a little heavy now towards that back end of Sector 2. This is where we'll start to see the drivers start thinking, okay, now I've got to keep an eye on those temperatures on the tyres, keep an eye on the tarmac, on the track conditions, watch out for those wet spots that start to form as we go lap after lap. Now, those medium runners, Kean Gordon Dorp especially, Franek is going to be thinking, right, I need the rain to be heavier because how much longer are these mediums going to last? Oh, never mind, here goes Kean Gordon Dorp. He can't last any longer on those mediums. 17 laps, 18 laps completed. Intermediates go on to that Aston Martin.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, really. The hards do have a little bit of an extension in life in them, of course, but the medium runners have felt that there's no choice now but to come into the pit lane. We've had some drivers simply just swap onto hards, Francesco Largo being one of those, doing the opposite to a big rival of his, Kean Godendorp. So, yeah, this will be interesting for the first couple of laps to see which tyre is quicker. It looks like early days, the intermediates have some life to them. He's keeping touch with JSR Ryan here, but after maybe a lap or two, if the conditions aren't quite right, they'll start to wear excessively and heat up. Yeah, look at Francesco Largo behind, finding so much grip going through turn 7. Onto turn 8 and 9 now, just gets the simple up and under. Will have no problem going down the inside. It's an early call for Kean, but just needs to hope now that the rain does come down harder in order for these intermediate tyres to work.
Absolutely. I mean, the rain is looking a little bit lighter in certain areas of the track than it is in others, and for Kean Gordon Dorp, this might have been the wrong call. I feel like hards are the way to go. The track is nowhere near seeing the rainfall needed to bring the intermediates into play. The hards would have been my call, especially if you needed to box. If it was an absolute must, you're at puncture risk and at puncture territory, you need to swap the rubber, hards would have been the call to go for at this stage in the Grand Prix. Because as you can see with Gordon Dorp, he's just losing out to Razza Gamer as well now. The grip is just not there for the Inters.
Yeah, quite right. Swap for intermediate tyres and a new front wing for JSR Ryan. Might be why he was actually really slow in comparison to Kean Gordon Dorp. But yeah, just a race of really two halves at this moment in time. We've had the chaotic safety car start and now weather affected run into the end of this particular Grand Prix, whereby we don't quite know who's made the right choice. Francesco Largo, if he can pull out maybe 10 seconds while he's on the hard tyres, I think he'll be okay to then pit for Inters and have a really good chance of catching back up to the likes of Kean Gordon Dorp. I've just seen run really quite wide into the left-hander of turn number 10. So, yeah, that's what I was saying. After a couple of laps, already starting to struggle on the intermediate tyres. There's been no real increase in the intensity of rain, and that's why Mr. Manden has come in and gone on to mediums. So he will be really rapid for a few laps now, and maybe even longer, because this rain, again, still showing no signs of really chucking it down.
Yeah. There he goes, Jeremy as well on Kean Gordon Dorp. Those inters really not working out. It was a brave, bold strategy, but he's not looking to pay out any sort of reward for the likes of Kean, Franek, Ryan and the A-team all on the inters. And the track's just not there yet. We're nowhere near a crossover point. Dries are by far the fastest tyre. There's not even a wet line starting to form. The rain is just, it's a slight drizzle. It's spitting by the slightest margin, not even enough to get your hair wet.
Yeah, well, you haven't got much hair at this moment in time, Corey, so I don't think you can comment on hair getting wet.
Oh no, I'll...
it was a cheap dig, sorry.
My skin will get a little bit damp and that's about it.
Who comes in this time? The Alpine of it's Rappy, sorry, comes into the pit lane. Oh dear, that's an absolute howler, I'm sorry. He comes in for a set of medium tyres. Leo might follow suit here. No, I can't recover from that, I'm sorry. I've took a cheap dig and I've got his name horribly wrong. Edit that out.
Oh, crikey. Well,
oh, no.
There's one for the censorship. Oh, love it.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, no. Cancelled after a charity event. Oh. Oh, that's crazy. But for Rappy, he's come out in P10 on the mediums, and as you can see, the track is at such a good condition. He's just gaining time on Taboo Dwarf, and there's nothing Taboo can do. He's just a lot faster here now as we get going into the second sector, as those tyres start to warm up and come into play. Oh, no, that's 10 seconds, though.
Exit line.
Huh?
Yeah, it wasn't speeding or anything. He's crossed the exit line and I've never seen that before. That's incredibly harsh. You usually get a warning for that, don't you?
Crossing the exit line? Was he in the pits? He has. He's gone into the pits and come out on hards, and he's crossed the line. So, because he's done it twice, right? He's had a warning. He would have done it twice. I reckon he did it on his inters pit, and he's done it on his hards. Right. So he's been given a 10 seconds. Now, more than likely, that's probably going to be removed, providing there are stewards that are awake at this ungodly hour. But we shall wait and find out later on as the championship starts to come to a close in the early hours of the morning and the points start to get tallied up. For, as you know, this is still a team championship, albeit a charity event, and we have raised almost £1,700 for Macmillan Cancer Support. So fantastic, staggering numbers for the charity, and we love everybody's support and everybody's donations. If you haven't donated already, scan that code in the top right of the screen. Every little help, whether it be a penny all the way up to £1, anything matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Putting a tenner in the past hour, you know, if you can spare £5, spare the cost of a meal deal, a pint, whatever you like to spend any of that extra income on. You know, it was all going to a fantastic cause. Great people behind the scenes of Macmillan, and there's so many ways, even if you're not on the F1 side of things, that you can fundraise. Oh, there's been a big crash there. I'm just going to interrupt myself talking about charity.
I was just on board with that, and I just changed the camera as it was mid-spin. It's like he's gone sideways and someone's just T-boned him, haven't they?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Exactly that.
Well, goodbye, F1AF. Leo, thank you for joining us. That's a disaster incident for you, but we are under safety car once again for the third time in the Zandvoort Grand Prix.
Well, that's good for the people that hadn't pit. It's terrible for Zach Styler's lead. I don't think he'll break 30 seconds at this moment in time, but he has come out with a free pit stop, still 14 seconds ahead. So, yeah, obviously that will bunch up when the safety car picks them all up, but really just showing in context what a huge lead he had. FST Robin gets a cheap pit stop there as well. It's Rappy in P5 still, so no real loss there. Yeah, everyone that was awaiting another free pit stop has kind of got that opportunity, but nobody really is taking the plunge with intermediates. Mango Slayer hasn't yet made the pit lane, so it remains to be seen what they do in terms of coming into the pits. No, he stays out, so yeah, quite confident that the Inters are still the right choice. So yeah, this is very odd. Kean's back on to intermediate tyres. Did he serve his penalty? I'm not quite sure. He's now dropped to 70. He's now he's glitching all over the circuit for me. I don't know where he is. There he is. He's exiting the pit lane.
We have a major desync issue.
Oh no!
The A team had just teleported onto the track.
That's what's happening to me.
Yeah, I was on board with Mango Slayer. Oh no! So I was on board with Mango Slayer, and the A team has just randomly teleported. And yeah, we have some. Oh wait, nope, we've synced back up. I think. Yep, A team is no longer 50 seconds behind. He's now 24. I think we've resynced.
He's stuck in the pits for me.
He's stuck in the pits. Oh yeah, so he's in the pits.
Oh
for
no,
me.
he's changed tyres. He's sat there for a while. He might have had a penalty, but I think we're okay. I mean, it's just one of those things with crossplay, isn't it? It can go wrong. Quite often it does, but I think we're okay at this moment in time.
And of course, let's not forget how amazing F125 is. Not a bug in sight. Let's just call that out for EA, yeah? Absolutely fantastic, not a bug in sight. We'll fix it eventually, maybe in 27.
Yeah, I forget we do actually have another year of this. It's the same game with some very controversial cars. That's going to be so brilliant, isn't it? I can't wait for that, where we get to do this all over again. And we will do it all over again, because it's a success every time these charity events happen. And really does spread a lot of positivity in a time of huge doubt whether the game's worth playing. But when you can have a bit of fun with it, when everything isn't so serious with every overtake, yeah, you can still. And this shows that it can be done. We've passed £1,700. That is incredible. Thank you to every person that has donated so far. Keep them coming.
That is incredible. Absolutely incredible. I think that's another milestone as well, so I'll have to check on that, what we've just gone past at the 1,700 point. But you know what, Exa? I like that. Exa F1 in the chat says, they're not bugs, they're just surprise mechanics. That's what we're going to say from now on. Anything unexpected happens, oh look, a surprise mechanic or an unexpected feature, as HTC PCP has said in the chat as well. So some good suggestions there coming from the chatters. We have surprise mechanics and unexpected features coming with the Formula 125 game.
Next incentive for the donations is SRC giveaway. So we've already had a few of them, and the prizes will be revealed as and when. But yeah, $1,750, you'll get an SRC giveaway. $1,800 will be a reverse championship for the next race that we do. So if we somehow raise £95 in 10 laps, the next race this evening will be a reverse championship. But that looks unlikely. But later on in the evening, yeah, we'll mix it up a bit.
Well, we've already got a crazy Monaco to come your way with TK. After this round, you've got Quarter, and then you've got the chaotic Manic Monaco, is what I'm going to call it. Manic Monaco, where you have no rules, no damage, and collisions are on with griefing off. So it is full contact with no rules and no damage. Manic Monaco to come your way, brought to you by TK around 2:30 AM UK time. So in around about an hour and a half, providing everything stays on to schedule. Maybe a little bit longer than that. We'll have to see how things play out. But make sure to tune in for what will be a absolute crazy Monaco Grand Prix. Probably the craziest Monaco Grand Prix you will ever see on CSS.
Same thing.
Yeah. It's getting late. It's we've just hit the 1 o'clock, the 1 AM margin, and I'm getting a little tired, but we've still got quite a few hours to go, quite a few races to go, and we are back to Green Flags Racing, and Zach Styler has took us away with a couple of cars behind, battling away. That's Raza Gamer and Robin going side by side, where Robin has to sit back behind that Alpine and wait a little bit longer though. But as we get pushing on, it's looking like Mishka on the intermediates has gone for a bold, risky strategy and is managing to hold out P8 at the minute. But further behind that, we have Jeremy going side by side with Taboo Dwarf as well. We see a ghosted car of the A-team being lapped and has to fall back in the order, where Joseph Black is at the back of the field, apart from Cian Gordon-Dorp, who has retired from the Grand Prix. So the order's a little bit screwed up, a little bit mixed up. But here we see Taboo Dwarf looking for an open door, and Jeremy not able to find one just yet. Further back, JSR Ryan looking to try and make a move on Nuclear Nadal. But he does get through now, looking to try and slip on past that lapped car before he comes face to face with Franek.
Yeah, indeed. Kean has DNF'd and now has left the session as well. So, yeah, he's probably run out of intermediate tyres to try at this moment in time. Not that we are still at the intermediate crossover yet. It's quite amazing. Robin, right on the back of Raza Gamer. Zach Snyder's pulled 2.6 seconds on the opening lap of the restart. Can Robin go down the inside of the first corner? Has he got the grip to do so? Yes, he does on only 4-lap-old medium tyres. He gets the job done nice and easily. Luke Sawyer on its Rappy into turn 2 and onwards towards turn 3. Again, a complete mismatch in terms of tyres as well. So, yeah, a lot of more overtaking going on. That's one thing that's not deteriorated from the first part of this race. Oh, Ryan giving Franek a nudge there. The Red Bulls and V-Carbs really coming a cropper up that hill. I'm sure it won't be the last we see of that this evening, but another frantic restart. No fourth safety car yet in this race, but as the rain continues to just greasen the track surface, yeah, we could yet see another spectacular moment.
Ryan and Taboo Dwarf battling side by side with slight contact there, and Ryan being sent off the track, and Franek doing very, very well just to stay out of contact and get into a bit of disaster there with the sister team to the V-Carb. And through we go. Now, Franek now looking to make potential moves on Taboo Dwarf. Can he get ever closer still? As like you mentioned, George, if that track is getting a little bit greasy and a little bit slippery now, as the rain is still been falling down, but hards are still the fastest tyre. Mishka Mandem looking for a bold alternate strategy with Mango Slayer, but it's not working out so far. Just holding his own in P8 and dropping time ever slightly to Crabs ahead.
Yeah, just watching this train of cars, and technically still a DRS train, as it's not yet been disabled. Oh, Joseph Black has retired from the session. The second worst thing to happen to a Joseph this evening here at Zandvoort. So I've been cancelled. He's found the barrier at turn 3, kind of in the Daniel Ricciardo location. I'll try and pick it up with Mango. No, his car's already been cleared. No fourth safety car as of yet. Shame to see one of the best commentators on the game, I've got to say. Real progress he's made over the last couple of years. A great friend of mine as well. And yeah, sadly finding the barrier.
That's unfortunate there, as he gets us no points for the commentary team. It's an unfortunate, but a good effort, as the conditions have been a bit unknown. The safety cars have thrown everybody's tyres up into the air. And it's been one of those Grand Prix where nobody really knows what to do, because even your setups are not playing to your favour. Nobody's on an optimum setup. Nobody is able to push the car to its maximum performance. It's a battle of survival, and the conditions aren't exactly making it any easier. As we see Raza Gamer and its Rappy going side by side. It's an Alpine battle here in the first sector. Through goes Rappy, managing to maintain the position. And look at Francesco Largo to the inside, found an open door, and he's going to try and get through on Raza Gamer as they go side by side onto the exit. Raza Gamer's not looking to give up that position, but there's nothing he can do from the charge of that McLaren.
You're starting to think now it's going to be a commitment to the end. 5 laps to go when we cross the line. Probably not worth going on to intermediates if the switch suddenly changes and the game thinks it's time for intermediates. Has now left the session. He retired as the second car in this race. It was quite an odd T-bone, I've got to say. We both picked it up quite late. Mr. Manden really showing Franek the, almost up to the gravel trap there. But what an exit he's got, though, having taken that wide line. He's onto the grass. He's threading the needle. He's going down the inside of Miska, who is going to run wide and into the gravel again. He then makes a bit of contact with Ryan. A good rejoin from Miska, considering the lack of control he has on the intermediate tyres. More chaos going on now as Jeremy goes up the inside. He gets the traction and the DRS wing open to cement that position. Oh, another crazy couple of corners there, and I'm sure it won't finish, as Nuclear Nadal will be next in line to overtake the quite simple. It's still on the wrong compound, even for these wet conditions.
Well, we saw Francesco Largo there fighting with Rappy, but as we keep our eyes on this backpack, it's Jeremy who's come out a little bit worse for wear in that third sector. They ended up making contact with the Racing Bulls of Franek, But who else is making moves? That's Nuclear Nadal there, looking to try and get through on Mishka, who's suffering on these intermediate tyres, not able to get any useful grip down. They've got to be burning now on 6-lap olds, and the track just hasn't come to them. Oh, there goes Nadal. He's beached in, gone straight on in the second sector, and he's opened the door back up for Mishka to go on through. Easy pickings, but he's managed to get going once again and not lose out too much time to that Red Bull. Just needs to keep it calm and collected here.
Yeah, both Mercedes went off at the same time. They just simultaneously lost positions there and have actually done well to keep it going and involved in that train. They can still see this race out with a bit of fun for the final 4 laps. Zach Styler now back up to 4 seconds ahead of fastest stage crews. Robin, who is carrying a penalty, it's 3 seconds. Was it? It must be for track limits. I can't think what else he would have got 3 seconds for, and quite impressive around here to do so, considering the curbs, really do tend to just shoot you off, and really unforgiving. So, might Robin have a word with the stewards? And there are stewards. I was joking earlier when I said they're all asleep. And we'll have a look. We'll get involved and see what can be done about that penalty, providing there is the usual evidence. No change, really, from a usual league race.
Absolutely. There is some stewarding to make sure everything goes fair and well for all drivers. But it's interesting to see how things are played out. I mean, do you get a point deduction? Do you get hit with a time penalty and lose positions? We'll have to see how the stewarding plays out in this particular event. But I'm not in on that side. I'm here to bring you commentary, and I have obviously done some races earlier on. As Joseph Black says, he lets the comms team down. Whatever. It was just one bit of a disaster race. It's not been the best in terms of strategies for everybody. You've had safety cars thrown your way, but now the track is looking to start to get a little bit damp and a little bit greasy, and I'm starting to see puddles maybe start to form. I don't know about you, Joseph, but have you seen anything like that?
I've just seeing the, I am actually seeing the reflection of the spots on the track. That's usually an indication that the track is just about ready to move on to intermediate tyres. What then can Macmillan do in the last 3 laps or so? JSR Ryan's coming to the pit lane as well, his teammate, to throw on an intermediate set as well. So whether that's some input from his teammate going, yep, track's ready, I'm starting to feel more grip, I'm starting to catch up to the cars in front. He is doing both. He's got that call. They're just going to throw everything at the last few laps of this race. Will everybody in front respond? Will they take the risk of staying out on a preset setup to try and hold that car together?
Well, we have seen JSR Ryan go into the pits and swap on some fresh intermediate tyres just for the guarantee of survival. We've just seen Macmillan go a little bit slidey there in the second sector, has allowed Nuclear Nadal to close up a little bit closer. But outside of the 1 second, I think we still have the DRS enabled. I don't think the rain has come down too harsh to stop the DRS, as we see the McLaren Francesco Lago's rear wing wide open as he's now looking for a move on Luke Sawyer there for the final podium position. Can he slip on through? Although Robin has that 3-second time penalty, he will inherit the podium naturally, and so will Luke Sawyer with how close they are. And it's a 6-second gap to Zach Styler, who's just been also dominant all race long.
Yeah, he has been no looking back at all, and just a regular comfortable win. Seems to do it in just about every competition that he's raced in. PC, PlayStation, Xbox, you name it. Now 24 hours. Macmillan Cancer Support, another trademark victory from him. But can McLaren have a 1-2 here this evening? Put together a really strong performance. Francesco Lago's been up and down all race long. Now he has the opportunity after Robin's mistake to go through into turn 11, and that should seal the deal. I think Robin will have an answer, and of course a lot rides on that time penalty as well. So yeah, classic 1-2 there. And yeah, fair play to them as the final lap of the race starts now.
Yeah, we're on to the final tour of the Zandvoort Grand Prix after what has been 10 rounds of spicy action to come to your screen. I think this is round 10 actually. This is 9 rounds and on to round 10, the second half of the charity event going over race 1,705 Great British Pounds from Macmillan Cancer Support Charity. It's been a fantastic event so far. all the drivers showing up and doing their part, all the donators showing up and giving in to the charity, as well as the comms team doing a fantastic job in bringing the streams to the screen. Everybody can see all this chaos and carnage with the wild cards, and of course I shaved my head, and I'm no doubt going to see clips of this for the next week, so we'll see how things go out.
Indeed, just a few more corners to go then for Zach Styler. Congratulate him once again. I mean, it's so easy to take your eye off the ball, isn't it? It's very Lando Norris Singapore. He just started driving into walls because he was quite far in front in that race. But yeah, no such concern. Changing conditions, lots of safety cars. Zach Styler just rides through it all. Brilliant race.
Yeah, it's what you can do when you're unemployed and just play the game. You can win by a huge margin, as Zach Styler is showing us. He crosses the line and wins in Zandvoort. Francesco Lago coming out of the final corner now to making a McLaren 1-2 and to score some good points there, with Robin coming to cross the line, but with a time penalty will drop down to P5. That's Luke Sawyer on the final podium position, and Krabs in P4 with Franek in P6, Raza and Rappi 7 and 8. Taboo Dwarf now coming towards the line, fighting with Mishka Mandem into P9, Mishka in P10, and Jeremy in 11th with Nuclear, Nadal in 12th, Ryan to take the checkered flag for 13th.
Yeah, one Mercedes into the back of the other there at the finish line. Always entertaining.
Yeah, he really slams on the brakes and sends the car for a spin to that checkered flag, and with the conditions there we see Mexico, the kicks Albert into the back of the V cab. I'm guessing that could be either Franek or Robin, one of them going very, very slow. And that is the Grand Prix over and done with. What a race to come back into the second half of the charity event. And your next round will be the Circuit of the Americas, Texas, brought to you by TK. But we'll get a quick final rundown before we head over to the stream changeover. And Zach Styler makes it a beautiful victory with a dominant race, 5/10 clear on the fastest lap, and he was 5/10 clear on pole position. Beautiful race, absolute domination with Francesco Lago locking out in P2, with Luke Sawyer taking the final podium. Krabs, Robin, Franek, Razagamer, Rappi, Taboo Dwarf, and Mishka doing the top 10, with Jeremy, Nuclear, Nadal, Ryan, Mexico, Mango, Slayer being the last to finish the Grand Prix. And outside of that, you've got a lapped car of the A team and the DNFs: Joseph Black, Kia Gordondorp, F1AF, Leo, and Jaden Squires, who had that disaster on lap 1.
Another race down is how that can be described. Another race closer to the end at midday. Still about 10, 11 hours to go of this one. So, yeah, Zandvoort is in the books. Next up is the race before the big one, you could say. Monaco full wet to come. But first up, we will go to Kota. Of course, that is another brilliant track. And I'm sure we'll see quite a different outcome to this. I'm sure we'll see a lot of track limits being straddled at this unholy hour. So, yeah, looking forward to that one alongside TK. And thank you, Corey, for not only shaving your head and keeping me entertained, but a solid stream and a solid race to go with it.
Oh, you're absolutely welcome for that. I'll be back for the Vegas Grand Prix around about 3:40 AM. So be sure to tune into that one. You get to see my bald head again. But for now, that's me logging off, and I'm going to go and check the haircut to see what sort of a job I've done. If I've missed any spots, I'll be picking those up while the next two races get underway. But for now, that's all from us. And be sure to stay on board, because you've still got a lot of racing to come your way. We're just getting through the night. More action is to come.
Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon to wherever you may be in the world, and welcome back to the competitive Speed Series 24 hours in aid of Macmillan Cancer Support. My name's Tom Knight, taking you through the next couple of races here, which will be both COTA and Monaco, and alongside me, the absolutely wonderful Joseph, who, let's just be real, has probably had one of the longest evenings and will continue to have one of the longest evenings in this 24 hours so far. But Joseph, first of all, how are you feeling?
Just covering up the live chat where Nathan Richards is about to chirp for the next hour. But yes, I'm great, TK. Great to speak to you again, of course. Everybody else that's been part of this so far. It's been great to be back in the commentators community. Been so good to see what's been going on so far today. And yes, it has been a long day. I'm tired. I know it's a difficult concept for these F1 players, but employment has got in the way, so we're into the night shift. I'm going to say some probably very stupid things, but other than that, it's been grand.
Well, you know what? It is midnight hours. It's the time where people suggest replacing cake with something a little bit more illegal if you're watching Le Mans, but thankfully, you're not watching Le Mans. You're watching F1 racing, and we are absolutely ready to go racing. Circuit of the Americas is our next venue. Before we go there, though, it's almost certainly worth just going through what we've gone to see. Of course, we've had so many races take part already over the course of today. Well, technically yesterday now, if you're living anywhere in the UK and or the European Union. Of course, we started off in Belgium. We headed swiftly over to Imola before a quick trip across the pond to Mexico. And then once again down to Southeast Asia and Singapore before heading down to Oceania and Australia. Back to Europe for Austria. Abu Dhabi took part at 8 o'clock in UK time. And of course, European once again for Hungary, and in towards the Middle East for Saudi Arabia. Who said that Formula One was eco-friendly in the slightest? And this is the lineup we're almost certainly more excited about. It's part 2. It's Electric Boogaloo here for Sunday running. And of course, we started with the Netherlands just a few moments ago before heading over to the only acceptable track within the United States of America. It is, of course, COTA. Before heading to everybody's favourite part of one of these, it is Monaco at stupid o'clock in the morning when it's midnight, full rain, and, there's probably a few more modifiers that we're not going to tell you about yet. We then head to Las Vegas. I'm not going to talk about it. It's a shit track. We move on. Japan, Azerbaijan, Qatar, Brazil, Spain, and by the look of it, Italy and Great Britain that couldn't fit in the graphic. But nonetheless, Joseph, those are our tracks for today. And of course, as we head into the rest of the morning and in towards the daylight hours, which of those tracks are you probably most looking forward to?
Well, I'm looking forward to watching Monaco after this, because I know that obviously commentating Las Vegas and Japan straight after, I probably won't fall asleep watching Monaco. So that will keep me going and certainly full of energy by the time we get to the absolute shithole, as you rightly say, is Las Vegas. So yeah, that'll be good fun. But yeah, Texas, a good neutral spot, all things considered, compared to where we're going next.
Absolutely right. Of course, I won't have my half an hour rant that it is just an upside down pig that someone's turned into a racetrack and try to make it look exciting, because yay Vegas. Anyway, moving very swiftly on, we're looking ahead to COTA, the more permanent racetrack that exists within the United States of America. Of course, the big talking point, almost certainly, has to be Big Red. Comes in the clue in the name, turn 1. What a fantastic overtaking opportunity that is going to be throughout the course of these 28 laps.
I mean, I've already seen it at Zandvoort this evening, people throwing it down the inside at turn 10, where two cars don't tend to belong. So, yeah, I'm quite interested for some of the late lunges we're about to see. They're always brilliant, to be fair, even when they're executed actually quite well from an F1 game point of view. But, yeah, I think around here where decisions aren't quite made with 100% consciousness, yeah, I think we'll see some interesting collisions, I'll have to say.
I think we certainly will. And of course, hello to everybody that is watching on both YouTube and Twitch. It's fantastic to see you. Thank you for taking time out of your early mornings. Although, as we probably said earlier, most of you probably haven't gone to sleep yet and probably won't do until Monaco's at least done. We applaud you for that commitment. Qualify. We'll head over and just keep an eye on what is going on. We're looking at a very, very sunny circuit of the Americas, one that is riling itself up to get itself ready. And as they head in towards Big Red for the very first time, our drivers will have to try and get everything done. Why are people surprised that I'm 26? What is this?
They'll be amazed when I say I'm 20.
Well, here we go then. Qualifying well and truly underway then. Who do we watch on board? I'm going to watch Will Gibson just because I was watching him earlier on his Mackey's run, and I think that adds at least 3 kilos to his car.
Oh, straight in. Ruthless this evening. Yeah, into the first sector. Ted 2 secs. Ted was briefly leading. I think Luca Rapassa is about to shoot up into the lead. No surprise for the two-time WRPC Tier 2 champion. I didn't actually forget to tweet that on Monday, purely because it was so obvious it was going to happen.
Absolutely, we hit follow a goal as well. I think that was what the notification came up as well. I've been Donkey Kong. Yep, absolutely. Bar right and Lamau. We've had one retirement already. That's Misha Mandan down in the Rebel Racing car. So they will start from 20th place on the circuit at the moment. But at the moment, Will Gibson in, well, what was 5th, now 6th, as everybody shuffles around the order in towards the heavy braking zone for the left-hander. So easy to get this one wrong.
Yeah, very much so. This entire section suddenly goes towards a slow speed crawl. Now working your way through a bit of an off-camber corner into turn 15. Nicely on the power for Luca Rapassa. Pretty much neck and neck with Tony Hiatala. Two drivers that have raced each other on many, many occasions. They meet each other tonight in a slightly different environment. They've both made it through turn 19. That's the important thing. Not exceeding track limits. A race on traction up to the line. Oh, and it was actually just the smallest of tank slappers for Tony Hiatala out of the final corner that has cost him about a hundredth of a second to Luca Rapassa. A really, really close fight for pole there. Should be equally as similar in the race. Cracking little fight for pole position. Yeah, just over a hundredth of a second. And 3 tenths back to Frozen in his own little world. And Will Gibson leading a close pack from 4th onwards.
Absolutely. Luca Rapassa just holding off Tony Hiatala. Of course, close comrades between themselves in PSGL PCF2 over many seasons. Of course, Frozen in 3rd, Will Gibson 4th, Milan goes 5th, with Ted Head in 6th. It's Matt 7th, Rio Harris in 8th. It's Oni Kitsun in 9th with Matthias in 10th. And then you can see the rest of your grid. Matthias Raza, Formula Kai, Royale, Lally, Fanta Fox, Phil, Misha, Paulos, Fallen Momo finished last place, which he should be ashamed about. Momo, do better. We're expecting better from you here today. Representing your own league, which, if anything, means that you've got no one but yourself to blame.
Indeed. Sunnier skies than we saw in Zandvoort, where the weather gods decided to play their part. We saw rain in about, I think Joseph Black said, it was about 25 to 30% precipitation, so it didn't actually get wet enough for the intermediate tyres. I don't think there's a threat at this moment in time, but yeah, I think any wet running for those that are doing Monaco after this might go just a long way in settling any nerves. Scotty donate 545, and I'll be getting permanent highlights. Oh, that's an hour's wage.
TK reached 2K and you shave your head too. No, I'm good. I'm so good. I enjoy looking. I got a fresh trim today. I don't need to then get it trimmed for a second time within 18 hours. But we've got to talk about Tony Hiatala here, Joseph. Of course, missing out by so close margins. Surely as a Leicester City fan, you can imagine how it feels to have it ripped away from your grasp and fall down the order of only 10 years after winning the Premier League. And yeah, that took about 3 seconds for him to take his headset off. So I think that's my job achieved. Nathan, you're welcome. Let's go down to the grid then. 4 and 5 red lights here in the Circuit of the Americas. And the lights go out and we go racing down towards turn number 1. It's Rapassa and Hiatala side by side, but look at this. Frozen wants to try and get involved in towards the opening corner, and that's going to be the Ferrari of Will Gibson wanting to try and send a move, does send the move, and Frozen demoted down to 5th place already. There's lots of changes in the midfield. Raza Gaming get the better of by Haas. That's going to be the TTN car up not 1 but 2 positions, and Frozen Milan still going side by side, 4th and 5th place respectively. Beating. There is a lot of decing on this. You are right in that.
We're back to the good old days where cars on top of each other used to be funny, and I am childishly giggling at it again. But hopefully, like in Zandvoort, it settles itself down. Oh, that didn't look promising from Ted Head, who just slams into the back of Milan Langer there. Down the back straight we go then for the first time. The top 9 all on medium tyres at the moment. Tony Hiatala, here he comes then. Is he going to go to the inside of Luca Rapassa? Swaps to the outside, late on the brakes. Can he dart around the outside? Luca Rapassa really got to the apex there and eventually shoves the Aston Martin off the road, but I think he just gives that one up going into the right-hander there. A cracking start to this race, but it doesn't look like it's all running smoothly in the lobby still.
Certainly so, and that's off the track for Frozen. He extended track limits as they run through into the third and final sector. Rapasa, though, trying to defend off Will Gibson now, who wants to go for the attack into the final couple of corners in contact between the two drivers. Gibson forced off the circuit, and he will not be pleased about Rapasa with that one. There was a little bit of argy-bargy as they came in towards the penultimate corner, but Rapasa holds second place for now. Gibson has that penalty to his name, a total of 3 seconds and 6 warnings already accumulated for the Fromage Racing driver, who sends his red car very deep into Big Red, still side by side, but gets the move done.
Will Gibson there at turn 1. What a ambitious move, and the first of many we'll see over the course of 28 laps. Luca Rapasa shuffled down to 4th. Again, just trying to work out whether any contact is, a deliberate decision or just, well, they can't actually register where the other car is, because I've still got cars hopping about where they perhaps shouldn't be, but certainly an improvement on where we were this time on the first lap as Luca Rapasa begins his comeback from 4th to probably 1st in a couple of laps as he overtakes his teammate Frozen. 1-2 in the last race for Team Papaya in this event, and well, it could be trying to work together to get a back-to-back 1-2 as FST Matt again gets a thump up the rear. So whether people are just that sleepy or are seriously just trying to avoid cars they can't, it remains to be seen.
I've just had clarification in the Twitch chat that it is indeed Will Gibson. He's not racing for Fromage at the moment. He's racing for Oz F1 Hub. And I must say, he's the most Brummy-sounding Australian I think I've ever met. But at least the points may be going in the correct direction, although that Ferrari is upside down if you want to try and consider yourself Australian. Well, I expect better as we head through the 28 laps here at the Circuit of the Americas. Formula Kai makes his way as he tries to hold on to 11th place unsuccessfully as TIR Paulus makes his way through at the final corner as we see lots of moves being made up in towards Big Red once again. The Alpine trying to go defensive in towards the opening corner. Kai trying to swing around the outside for the content team and in towards the beginning of the S's. He'll try and hold the inside line, but the Alpine just looking too powerful at the moment. And Phantom Fox, you can see just behind, waiting ever so patiently to try and get the move done. And that is the absolute perfect place they want to be. They're going to try and capitalise any minor mistakes that the likes of Formula Kai make. And the moment that Haas sniffs an advantage, I have a feeling they will send it.
Yeah, indeed. Got a beautiful helicopter shot and using the natural elevation really quite nicely. It makes some line crests where the cars can quite beautifully just glide over the top of them. Sets up straights like this, a nice kilometre-long straight, give or take, where Will Gibson could go down the inside of Luca Rapasa, and not for the first time we've seen a car shuffled off on the exit of turn 12, and with Frozen waiting in the wings as well. He's really trying to get a piece of the action here against two semi-professionals and Will Gibson.
I can't tell whether you're implying Will Gibson's professional, just an absolute amateur here at the moment, but you're right.
I'm definitely amateur,
We've got two academy drivers and Will Gibson that has just somehow found himself within the top 3 at the moment. Of course, he does have 3 seconds worth of penalties to his name, which by my calculations will drop him roughly down to about 8th or 9th place after this all is said and done. But of course, before that, we still got 24 laps of racing, and that is very brave in towards Big Red, but Luca Rapasa saw it coming, went for the switchback, and oh, there goes Gibson. A firm tap to the front axle by Luca Rapasa, and round goes Gibson, rejoins in 6th place, trying to hold off FST Matt for 7th place at the moment, but the Ferrari will not be happy about that. Neither will Matt, as they pick up a 3-second penalty for the process of ghosting and not being able to see the circuit in front of them. I think there's certainly going to be words to be said about that one.
I'd just say that was an unbelievable save. He was perpendicular to the track and suddenly just found himself still in the same train and only down in 6th. If anyone could clip that, that would be quite good to see back as quite an odd highlight of the evening. But yeah, Will Gibson, some brilliant saving action there. You could call him a goalkeeper almost. But yeah, it just looked like he didn't have any room there on the inside. Whether Luca Rapasa saw him properly or not, I don't know. But what a save.
I've seen Will Gibson playing football, and I tell you what, he is a fantastic goalkeeper, so all credit to him. He has saved that rather well. Someone needs to hand him the golden glove for today's endeavours, and Frozen, that is almost certainly a violation of track limits, but he's got away warning free for that particular extremity as they head in towards the penultimate couple of corners here. Lap 4 of 28, of course. According to our meteorologist friends here in the Americas, we are expecting no rain for the duration of this race as it stands. Of course, safety cars are still a concern for all of our drivers. We may see an appearance of Macmillan in that Mercedes-powered safety car, and penalties coming thick and fast in amongst this grid, and we can just pull up them on the screen at the moment. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drivers, each with 3 seconds to their name at the moment, and we haven't even got that many laps through.
I did predict this at the start of Zandvoort, that, yeah, I think drivers might just forget where the white lines are coming into this race, and I'm even on board with Frozen there. It probably looked like he took a warning. It's not kind to you around this circuit. So, yeah, there you go. Another 3-second time penalty coming in there for the kick. Sauber of Onikitsu. I don't know on pronunciation on that one. As we've had a spinner, it's FCR Lally who's gone around at the top of the hill. So, yeah, gets that one going again. Looked like another similar save to Will Gibson, but at much slower speed, and up that hill, it's quite difficult to catch it.
It absolutely is one of the more common mistake areas we see, of course, as the weight transfer starts to affect the car to a greater degree, and then able to try and hold the car as much as you possibly can. It's the moment it goes, it is almost certainly impossible to try and save the car, unless you do see the most heroic of moves. And there's Will Gibson proving that he is indeed human and picking up a 5-second penalty. What has happened slightly further back? Ted Head has decided to take an adventure into the gravel, just reminiscing of Lewis Hamilton's adventures back in 2024.
I wasn't watching Ted Head, but I was watching Milan Langer, who, again, didn't lose a position, but he was, again, perpendicular to the track. So whether they've got super glue in these tyres that is just making everybody not spin, yeah, just seen another save there that has put Will Gibson right in touching distance of him. So, yeah, somebody might want to just spray a little bit of sticky stuff onto the track just to make sure everybody's not spinning. I think that's been done already, but... yeah, interesting.
I've heard from Maranello, actually, Ferrari have developed their own version of DAS. It's just, all, you know how industrial diggers have like 4-axle steering? That's all it is to be able to save the cars when they're perpendicular, because they understand their drivers can't keep it in a straight line. 9 times out of 10, so they've decided the car can turn 90 degrees and basically crab walk its way through. I'm fairly sure that's what Will Gibson just, well, showed off to perfection there as he does make his way past Milan down the back straight in towards the heavy braking zone, and Matt will try and go for a very similar move. Does get the move done, so 4th and 5th respectively, both moving up a place within the standings, of course, both with penalties to their name. There will be Will Gibson with 6 and Matt with 3 to theirs. Will Gibson, the most warnings out of anybody so far. He's got a total of 7 to his name here, Joseph.
Yep, only Will Gibson. Welcome back. Good to see you again. Right, yeah, who's the first that's going to be disqualified? Put your bets on that one in the live chat. The favourite is Will Gibson, purely because he has 6 seconds of penalties. He's going into the pit lane. This is very early. Is this a tactical 2-stop? Some genius coming from Will Gibson, because sometimes his genius generates gravity. Onto a set of hard tyres he goes. Could be going to the end. Could be just trying to puncture. I don't know, but yeah, hard tyres on.
This is either going to be the biggest brain move from Will Gibson, or he's showing us that he's got 2 brain cells and they're both collectively fighting for 3rd. And we'll figure out... well, there we go. That answers that one, as the track exit or pit exit is decided to be absolutely optional. You're right, it is. That is up to 8 warnings now for William Gibson. We're going to full name him from now on, and he's only 1 more warning away from 9 seconds worth of penalties.
Oh dear. Yeah, I'm putting £1.50 on Will Gibson to get disqualified at evens odds.
Nope, there we go.
They're coming. Oh, there you go. The odds have changed again. It's actually betting suspended on that one.
Yeah.
Too late, guys.
That checks out. I've actually put an accumulator on Tony Hightower to win and Will Gibson to get disqualified. It's actually good odds at the moment. So get on if you want to try and keep an eye on. Obviously, it goes without saying, don't gamble responsibly. We don't endorse it, yada yada. That is going to be Yari, though, taking a little adventure to the off-track section as they head in towards what was the heavy braking zone at the end of the back straight. Formula Kai makes his way up past Paulus as well. Does he, as the Alpine tries to fight it down the inside. We're certainly gained. Oh, massive snap, and look at that. Oh my goodness, that is going to be a heart-in-mouth moment for the Alpine as he rejoins the circuit, but, well, albeit, what was that, 2 positions further down than once he was? And we can just, if we ride on board here, Joseph, look at that front left tyre when we get to the slower speed corners, most notably here at Big Red. Look at the graining that tyre's suffering.
Yeah, no surprise then that drivers have come into the pits. I was on board with Paulos during that tank slap and millimetres away from Formula Kai. And I do think it stemmed from him actually being put off the track by Formula Kai and then just, you know, having some of that dirty rumble strip on his tyre. It might have just affected his overall grip going through that corner. So, yeah, he might be pointing fingers at Formula Kai for that one. To be fair, it's not easy to just recover and try and get back into the flow straight away. That's just the hardest part about this, especially at, you know, the fatigue time of night, I'll call it. It's just about getting going again and having the strength to get on to the end of the race, even though you're not in as good as a position as you once were. But yeah, Paulos now in recovery mode.
Absolutely right, and we continue through, of course. Just a reminder, while we're all here, it is in aid of Macmillan, the cancer support charity, and currently stood at £1,705, and for just simply, I believe, what is it, 1,800 would make it reverse grid order, or reverse championship order for Monaco, which is just an additional 95 Great British pounds, roughly, I think about 120 euros, about 130 US dollars, something like that. So if you're feeling a little bit generous at this time in the morning and not Monaco, for Vegas. That's
I
boring.
made the same mistake. Yeah,
that's boring. Don't do it then. Wait till a better track. Oh, Will Gibson is up to 12 seconds of penalties and 14 warnings.
Yeah, there's now no longer a market for that, so
yeah,
it's been removed off all of your favourite apps that we won't name, because we don't want to name drop any gambling companies. Anywho, IRT Phil versus Formula Kai, that looked pretty close going into the S's. And then Dirty Air does its thing and he's suddenly 5 tenths behind again. Yes, the F125 talking point that we're still talking about even in April. It's just kind of not changed since the game launched. Slipstream doesn't exist either, so you can't gain any little things back going into the left-hander of what is, I believe, turn 11. Now down the back straight we go again. Will we see any more sends on this occasion? It's a bit of a DRS train from 5th down to 8th place. Rio Harris on the hard tyres, our lobby host, a good guy. He's doing a fine job in this race so far. He's probably one of the only drivers I've not had to speak about so far. And that's a good thing. It means he's just quietly doing his thing.
Absolutely. He loves these events, and actually he's one of those drivers that has got quicker with time, and he's got a little bit mature in the way he drives. We've seen him in events in the past where, you know, you might have gone for the occasional move that wasn't necessarily on, but actually as he's developed as a driver and done more and more league racing, he understands the dynamic just that little bit better. Of course, starting at the moment on the harder compounded tyre, actually, if we look at him, he is the leading hard tyre runner at the moment out of absolutely everybody that started on them. The likes of slightly further behind him, the actual 3 drivers behind him now, so Kai, Phil and Misha as well. Those drivers also starting on the hards as Phil goes for a late dive in towards Big Red. Kai tries the switch back. I don't think he necessarily has the traction out of the corner. No, he doesn't on this occasion. Misha as well just behind, picking up an additional or first penalty for themselves here. So 3 seconds to their name will be carried through as lots of drivers made their way towards the pits for the last couple of laps. Of course, one of them being Matthias down in 15th place for Team TTN. In towards the hairpin corner, I think we are going to see maybe an endeavour for Formula Kai to get the move back down this long back straight with the helping hand of the drag reduction system.
It should be a return to P6 for Kai. He gets a pretty steady exit in comparison to Phil. Now the DRS will do its work, opening up that rear wing. Not yet in... what do they call the spinning wing? That doesn't matter because he's down the inside. Wing. Macarena wing, that's the one. I couldn't think of it. Red Bull are trying to copy it. The V-carb isn't, though. Phil just gets, again, shuffled off the track. There's a running theme here. It seems like the drivers think that there's actually a bit more runoff. Well, there's actually a bit more tarmac there. There isn't. The track runs out and people are pushing each other off the track. Not good. Naughty. Stewards look into that.
You're absolutely right. Front two, though. Tony Hightower and Luca Rapassa, like twins as they, were born pretty much from someone else. They're both in towards pit road. Frozen, though, will get held at the pit box. That's a bold move. Following your teammate in so close behind him, that is surely going to hurt rather than help his race as he makes his way through on the end of what will be lap 10 on towards lap 11. I've got some more bad news for any Will Gibson fans, albeit the small number that are in the chat at the moment. He's on 15 seconds worth of penalties now with 17 warnings.
Yeah, nice. Just running out of superlatives for his incredible racing ability. He just knows every corner of the racetrack like the back of his hand. Anyway, he has got some overtakes to make, so this would be interesting. He could get illegal overtakes if his performance so far has been anything to go by. Gets a little up and under, and down the hill he goes, and he is past Phantom Fox already. So the tyre's doing its work there. Found plenty of grip in the section of the racetrack where it is really quite desirable. But Tony Hightower and Luca Rapassa just steady at about 2 seconds. I think the traffic will have a part to play here. Will any of these cars in front of Tony Hightower, Scamanden, Phil, Formula Kai, they just try to slow up the Aston Martin and create a bit of an entertaining race at the front? Not giving hints, but do it.
We're not suggesting anything in the slightest, but the law of funny always outweighs the law of being a sweat. As everybody knows in these events, and going back to Will Gibson, of course, on 15 seconds worth of penalties, but not even halfway through the race. I have it on strong authority that Stevie Wonder could drive the circuit limits better than this.
Yeah, here then comes Tony Hightower. A first opportunity officially going into turn one, but even at 6/10 back, he wouldn't dare do it, would he? No, he doesn't. Yeah, I was hoping that would be the outcome. Otherwise, that would have been a pretty firm straight line. But yeah, he's going to get caught up here in some dirty air behind cars that are on 10 lap older tyres than him. So this is Luca Rapassa's chance. He'll be thinking about the battery and where the best place to deploy it is. And, well, for Tony Hightower, he can't rush into it. The overtakes will come naturally with the grip just up and over the crest now. This is his chance then going into turn 11. His commandant looks to cover the inside, but down the inside goes Tony, the flying Finn. He's quite simply up into P4.
He absolutely is, and we'll get DRS, of course, on Phil just in front. We'll be able to open that rear wing, the detection point being before the hairpin, and would have gained it from Misha, and of course Misha also getting that rear wing open. I think the V-Cub deciding it could be in their best interest just to try and not fight this as much as they would have liked. I say that, they go deep in towards the left-hander. They're trying to block what will be the sister team. Almost sideways is the Red Bull racing car of Misha, somehow just holding on and keeping that car in a straight line. But IRT Phil deciding he is now Gandalf and you shall not pass.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the third Red Bull V-Carb collision I've commentated this evening. These are becoming all too frequent. Is there a heated rivalry that I don't know about? But anyway, Tony Hightower is ahead of Formula Kai. It's now 3 cars in between himself and Luca Rapassa in this one. He is, though, Luca Rapassa much closer to Miska Manden, and he's going to go out the inside at the first corner. The ERS light flashing on the Red Bull, which is an indication that he didn't have much at all to defend with. Luca Rapassa will surely get into the DRS of Phil, Kai, and maybe Tony Hightower just to keep his chances alive of sticking with the Aston Martin driver and giving us a race in the second half of the Texas Grand Prix.
Absolutely right. Of course, we're expecting the hard tyre runners to come in probably around lap 16 to, 17, if my maths would be anywhere near correct, maybe a couple of laps before that. So if anyone thinks of causing a safety car right as Tony Hightower is about to overtake Rio Harris, I'm not suggesting you do that, but it would be really funny.
Here we go. Towards the braking zone. And Phil might have a look back on Luca Rapassa. I mean, it was an open opportunity for him. It was an open goal. Miska Manden runs wide and off the track and picks up a time penalty of his own. Now got more than half the grid sporting some time penalties now. So if we make that everybody, then we can just neutralise some of them and just forget about them. So yes, do that. Tony Hightower, though, is going to gain on Rio Harris, a part of the racetrack where he doesn't want to, but Overall, though, since the pit stops, he has made a net gain on Luca Rapassa. That was about 2.2. He's running at about 2.5 now. IRT Phil gets a penalty now as well. So just, 8 more to go, and then we've got a completed grid. Tony Hightower retakes the lead on the track, though. Rio Harris doesn't have an offer for that. Luca Rapassa down the inside. He goes at turn 1, and the gap is restored again to about 2.5 seconds.
Absolutely right. We're just approaching or encroaching on that halfway mark of the race at the moment. That will be achieved at the end of lap 14. For those of you that failed GCSE Maths, you're welcome for the insight. And of course, Rio Harris still holding on to second place. Still the front runner of those that started on the medium tyres. We have got other drivers surrounding him, the likes of Kai, Phil, Misha, of course, up within the top 6, and even drivers slightly further down the order. We've got the likes of Deddy Royale in 14th, FZR Lally in 15th as well. All of those drivers opting to start on the harder compound of tyre, which means that Rio Harris has well and truly driven these tyres incredibly well in comparison to the rest of the field at the moment, and that surely has to be praised, if nothing else.
Yeah, praise the key thing in this case. 15 seconds for Will Gibson is the polar opposite of anything that can be praised, but Luca Rapassa, actually I'm surprised he didn't get past Rio Harris on this lap. That gap almost up to about 3 seconds now, and I'd suggest that time has already run out for a proper fight to the end here. There'll still be a couple of laps that Harris does on these hard tyres at least, as a purple lap comes in from Tony Hightower, and Alanga now getting another time penalty. Luca Rapassa finally gets through, gets the little nod of approval, the weave of approval from Luca Rapassa, because that was the white flag being waved and Rio Harris just trying to run his own race.
Again, I think that's really mature racemanship there from Rio. As much as he knew he didn't want to get overtaken, he had the opportunity to try and run through where he was. He knows that this isn't his fight at the moment. You've got these drivers that are intentionally and quite incredibly up at the top end of F1 League racing. And, he knows that his fight is going to be to score good points for his team, consistent points for his team as he makes his way through. So letting Rapassa, letting Hightower go is not going to hurt his team's chances in the grand scheme of things, but if he battled further, that actually encourages other drivers to try and make their way forward. It looks like Deddy Royals had a bit of an off at the opening, or the exit, should I say, of Big Red. Finds himself just spun around ever so slightly, but was still expecting loads of drivers. Tony Hightower gets a penalty as well. More yellow flags in the middle sector. I think that's FCR Lally, who's facing the wrong way through the middle of the S section.
Yeah, and doing some proper burnouts to get it going again. I can't imagine the rear tyres will have any life left in them after that. But that is key at the front of the field. As the gap hit bang on 3 seconds, a 3-second time penalty for Tony Hightower. So by a 10.5, Luca Rapassa is in the net lead of this race. And assuming they are about equal, both in clean air, and we saw in qualifying just 100th between them, this is going to be so nip and tuck to the end. And for Luca Rapassa, it will just be the game of avoiding a penalty of his own, and for Tony Hightower not getting another one while still trying to maintain a consistent pace to win this race, as Will Gibson locks the rears going into the first corner, loses traction. This commander has to take avoiding action, quite severe one at that, and again, some more turn 1 misery for Will Gibson that's going on there.
I was about to commend him for making a legal overtaking towards the first corner, and there was almost certainly an attempted murder charge as Lally retires in pit road as he picks up yet another 3-second penalty, so now finds himself on 18. He's got more seconds worth of penalties than laps completed here at COTA at the moment, which is certainly something that you would not want against your name, especially for a long circuit like COTA. We are down to 19 drivers once Formula Momo makes his way past pit road. Of course, the driver that is down in 20th hasn't had the best of race starts so far. I went for 11 laps on the mediums, has done 3 on the hard so far. I think it's just been one of those circuits that has caught out the Sauber driver, and now picks up an additional 3 seconds of penalties to their name, adding themselves to a total of 6 for their endeavours and their adventures here in COTA.
Yeah, a lot of drivers finding areas of the track that is punishable by the law of warnings on the F1 game. You don't get 5 seconds though, you get 3, which is the only saving grace for them at this moment in time. A proper Austria 23 scenario, I want to say. Was he 23 or 24? Can't remember. You know, the Pierre Gasly meme, the funny one. But yeah, into the pit lane goes Formula Kai. That is a pit stop onto the medium tyres. So now the only driver out on track on the mediums. Well, I say that, Mr. Mandens finally got to his pit box and swaps for the yellow walls as well. So yeah, 2 drivers now looking to be on the charge for the remainder of this race. Kai penaltyless. He's in a good position if he can just stay in and around that sort of top 6, 7, 8 positions.
I want to say that's very brave from Ted. What we just saw in towards the opening corner. It was a late lunge in towards Big Red, and Paulus was having absolutely none of it, wanting to try and close the door as much as they possibly could. And unfortunately for Ted, he did have his foot stuck firmly in that door, so the door was slammed on his foot. I'm sure he'll have to take a reconsideration as to his approach this time around. But Frozen, slightly further forward in the field, gets his way past Phil. Both these drivers with penalties to their names. 6 seconds for Frozen. Got 3 seconds for IRT Phil, as well as Razza Gaming gets his way past. I think Will Gibson, who's dropped down the order. More yellow flags. I think that was only temporary, though, as Formula Kai makes his way past the likes of the Kick Saber driver. And that looks like Gibson just going ever so slightly slowly. I'm not quite sure what's going on with the Scuderia Ferrari car, but maybe a couple of issues as he has backed off from the likes of Milan and Razza Gamer. I wonder if this is tactical or if he's genuinely having issues here, Joseph.
Yeah, watch Will Gibson there as he went off. It looked like he couldn't stop the car at all. Rio Harris into the pit lane. He'll actually be hoping doesn't meet anybody on the pit exit, because part of his rationale this race has just been that he hasn't really been near anybody or tried to bother anybody. He has a close call on the exit of the pit lane. I can't imagine he'll be the happiest of people, but it looks like he's found a bit of a gap where he cheats there. Luca Rapassa gets a time penalty, so it's now back to how we were at the front. Just to cut into myself there, yeah, he's found a bit of a gap. Formula Kai is just in front of him. They can work together, and there should be some steady progress being made by the pair of them.
Absolutely. It looks like we've had a connection issue from Milan, though. Drops out of the session, and in doing so, drops not 1 but 2 positions. So Gibson and FST Matt get past it. Oh no! Gibson's rear tyres well and truly giving up on him as he made his way in towards the hairpin, and all of that good work that he's put in over the course of the race so far comes tumbling down quicker than Leicester City's hopes of remaining in the Premier League.
Shush. Stop. Not funny.
We'll continue through on lap 18 of 28. It's Haitala that leads, of course, from Rapassa and Frozen Phil in 4th place. Raza still in the top 5. Of course, the only driver in the top 9 that is penalty-free at the moment. He should take his head and hang it high with the achievement that he's got here at the moment. Formula Kai and Rio Harris, of course, the other 2 drivers within the top 11 that also remain penalty-free. Phantom Fox, Yari as well, down in 16th and 17th respectively, as Will Gibson using the ghosted car to his advantage, making his way past, and in comes the Rebel Racing car as the AI decides on lap 19 of 28 that it's time for another pit stop.
Yes, the invisible Red Bull that isn't actually there. Ted Head gets a 3-second time penalty. That leaves us now, I think he had a penalty before, but what, 5 drivers without a penalty? Yeah, Luca Rapassa, you know, that gap has not changed since Tony Haitala's penalty, so it really was neck and neck in terms of pace. Now Luca Rapassa's got a penalty of his own. That's pretty much ruled out his chances of winning, unless Tony Haitala gets another one, of course, but he can now slow up a little bit, not drive as aggressively, and he should get away with not getting another penalty in this race. But it's now a battle of the prancing horses. This Formula Kai is about to overtake Will Gibson, but he's defending those, giving him the slipstream for the time being. Is he going to actually defend this one? Yes, he is. He's not showing his teammate the way through at all. And I know they're not properly teammates at this moment in time, but Formula Kai does go down the inside, giving us a proper race. Will Gibson still can't get that traction right, coming off of turn 12. It's either that or a rear lock for him at this point. Will Rio Harris try and get through? No, but Will Gibson will just smash into his Ferrari teammate. I expect nothing less.
There is words to describe that manoeuvre in Formula One, none of which, unfortunately, I can use on a charity and family-friendly live stream from the moves that we've just seen from Will Gibson. But unfortunately, it's a bit aggressive, isn't it, as he does come in towards pit road. I think surely to get some damage repaired, and interesting to see as a penalty to Ipswich, absolutely. And let's see, does the front wing get repaired? No, he is just going to go for soft tyres till the end, though. So I'm not quite sure what the play is. Maybe wanting to give the position back and equally go for fastest lap. But a strange move from Gibson.
Yep, smack your teammate, pit for softs, refuse to elaborate.
Is the Kimi Raikkonen strategy.
Nice.
We have had a retirement in the pits. That is going to be Lavoie. 17th place for Team TCN, and we've had 2 drivers now retiring in pit road. Of course, Milan still not back in the session, if memory serves me. Yet car well and truly still ghosted. We've had a race that is without a safety car, which is an unusual thing to see in one of these events so far, as we can see a late dive from Phil in towards the hairpin, gets the move done, and very lovely stuff indeed. Will still get the DRS, of course, that detection point being before the hairpin and well and truly before the braking zone as well. It's one of the rare occurrences that you can go for a send in towards a tight corner and still benefit from the DRS on towards the straight. And now that was Misha under pressure, but the switchback from the V-Cub. That's absolutely stunning racing as the Red Bull car goes off the circuit. More argy-bargy between the two of them, and Phil picks up a penalty for the pleasure of it, but they're still side by side. Who's going to be braver this time? Misha has to concede, and that's Phil up to 8th place after both drivers knocking 10 bells out of one another.
Welcome back, V-Car versus Red Bull. We've missed you. It's been about 15 laps. Where have you been? Yeah, that was quite tame compared to all the other incidents so far, but yeah, Phil and Misha putting on a show for us there. But so the sad thing is, Rio Harris and Formula Kai now 3.5 seconds apart. That looked like a little avenue for teamwork. Phil and Misha, potentially for those two as well, but Phil is now going to be in full qualifying push mode for the remainder of this race. He's on the freshest medium tyres out of everybody. Will Gibson is back into the pit lane. It's time for a McFlurry.
If you know, you know. He's already been on one McDonald's adventure tonight. He decided that he left that apple pie at the store and has gone back for it. Been told the car didn't change the wing, according to Gibson in the Twitch chat. And I think the FIA might need to investigate Ferrari for that one, because the cars apparently have become sentient throughout the course of this race, able to change their own front wings. Because, of course, the team no longer has involvement by the sounds of it. If the cars can change their own front wings here, Joseph, I think we're in trouble.
AI is, clearly too dangerous now. It's causing safety concerns down in the pit lane when they aren't meant to be changing broken parts. Well, they're not changing broken parts when they should be. Anyway, Luca Rapassa's got another penalty, so Tony Hightower can slow to a crawl and probably win now. Razza Gamer is in no man's land. Frozen's in no man's land. Just checking up on those two. Hope they're all right. Hope they have something entertaining on another screen like Subway Surfers or something to keep them awake.
Yeah, they've got Subway Surfers on one screen. They've got an audiobook of Reddit stories just being read to them constantly whilst these races are going on. There was a 3-wide moment there between Phantom, Fox, Paulos and Ted in towards the heavy braking zone at the end of the back straight, which was fascinating to see how 3 were going to go into 1. The answer was it didn't. But for a moment there, I was hopeful and brave that we were going to see some absolutely fantastic racing between the Haas, the Alpine and the Mercedes outfit, respectively, for 11th, 12th and 13th. In towards Big Red we go for lap 22 at the moment. And Tony Hightower and Luca Rapassa still separated by minimal distance. But of course, Rapassa now has 6 seconds to his name. I think surely has thrown away race lead.
Yeah, indeed. Luca is showing good pace, but I think some of that is due to the track adventures that he's been having. But yeah, these medium runners I'm looking at, this is going to be its own little fight for the win, I think. FST Matt right in the back of Razza Gamer and Rio Harris within a couple of seconds. Formula Kai hasn't really made any inroads, but it could be Kai behind that. If Kai is Phil behind that. If Kai is nice to him, yeah, he might be able to get a move on and it become a 4-way fight for P4 on track in this race. And I think that's what we deserve at the end of this one. We didn't really have a proper end of race battle last time out in Zandvoort. Zach Styler ran away with that one. If you missed the first race, the second half of the session this evening. Yeah, this race is pretty much decided, but still a fair amount to play for.
Absolutely, and if you are watching, first of all, what are you doing awake at this time of the hour? If, of course, you are based in the UK or European. If you're based in Australia, I think it's probably about 10 o'clock in the morning, if memory serves me correctly, or something around that. Welcome, good morning, hope you slept well, and I hope your breakfast is going well. I'm assuming that's the time in Australia. If not, I look like a bit of a fool at the moment. If you're watching from the US, it's probably, if my maths is correct, probably late evening for the majority of you, and we hope you sleep well if you're going to sleep very soon. Close to midday, then 10. That's still breakfast, honestly. That's close enough in my opinion. But yeah, US, probably late evening. Hope you've enjoyed your nightcaps and are ready to get tucked up into bed. If you're not racing, it's a pleasure to have you with us at the moment as we enter through in towards what will be the second half of the 24 hours here for the competitive speed series at Macmillan Cancer Support Charity. We've had some thrilling racing, haven't we, Joseph, in the first 12 or so hours, with lots more still to come.
Yeah, some thrilling, some bamboozling, but yeah, they both fall under the good fun category. So yeah, absolutely nothing wrong. A little bit of aggression that these drivers sometimes don't get to show in their respective championships and tournaments, obviously because it is so watered down to just being a robotic process of practice, DRS trains, dirty air, the same sort of strategy every time. But it's these events where you are allowed to get a little bit creative in the similar sort of racing circumstances, in that we are just doing back-to-back 50% races all night long. Thank you to every single one of you for joining us. That's my serious waffle done. Misha is into the pit lane. Don't really know why. Is this a fastest lap attempt of some sort? There's no front wing change. On goes a set of softs. He wants a purple lap.
I think you're absolutely right, and we've had a Phoenix Flyer come into the Twitch chat confirming that it is indeed 10:45 AM for themselves in Australia, and I must admit I'm patting myself on the back because that was a spectacular guess that it was about 10 o'clock in the morning in Australia. I had absolutely no idea when I said it. It was a hope and a prayer based off previous interactions. I had no idea. As we do see Yari pick up another 3 seconds to add to their tally here at the Circuit of the Americas. That brings them to a total of just 3 as their first offence here. As more yellow flags in the third and final sector. I think that's Didi. Again, not finding the best of times with that. What is the triple right-handers? They made their way through the third and final sector. Down in 17th place, and with penalty to their name. Misha with 3 as well to their name. That makes it to a total of 9. They're trying to take away the crown from Mr. Will Gibson as most penalties accumulated within a charity race. Of course, that still stands at 18 at the moment for the native man from Birmingham. But there is a driver slowly sneaking up on him as Ted has got 12 for the Mercedes outfit.
I think Misha actually slowed down to have a battle with Will Gibson here. So let's see how this one unfolds. Here comes Will Gibson to the inside of Misha Mandan, who will probably want a fastest lap if he can take it. But it looks like he's more concerned about this artificial battle. But they're having a good go at this. I must say, Rio Harris has just been side by side with Raza Gamer. So I should probably not ignore that for the sake of an artificial scrap. But yeah, Rio Harris on the cusp now of 4th place.
He absolutely is. It was close between the two drivers up in 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th as well. Of course, Matt and Phil not far off the back, both V-Cubs wanting to try and get involved in the action as Phantom Fox gets their way past Paulos in towards the opening section to the S's. Ted is right on the rear of the Alpine as well. We enter in towards what will be lap 25 with 3.5 laps to go here at the Circuit of the Americas. Is starting to spice up ever so slightly as the tyre compounds start to balance themselves out here. Rio Harris looks for a move in towards the tight left hand at the end of the back straight. Goes side by side. I think the cars can be forced off the circuit. The Alpine of Raza Gaming will not be happy about that one as both V-Cubs scrapping it out further back to Matt and Phil for 6th and 7th. But Rio Harris is in 4th place, has secured that position, and now the Alpine of Raza Gaming under pressure from both V-Cubs behind.
A well-executed strategy, a really no-nonsense performance, and now a position that Rio Harris really does deserve. Up into P4 he goes, but can Raza Gamer crucially hold on to any more. He's got no time penalties, which is the upper hand, but Phil's got a much better exit coming out of the final corner, and the D-rating on the Alpine has started early. Here comes Phil to the inside. It's going to be a simple one for the V-Carb. He just polishes that move off and goes up into P5 now as well. Matt has 2 laps fresher tyres than Razagamer, but crucially does have a penalty. I think it'd be quite counterproductive if he starts to push for an overtake. Razagamer, though, still going to try and hold on for this P5 if he can, but he's now picking up dirty air that he's not experienced for the majority of this Grand Prix, and it's thrown him already over a second off Phil. It could be a pretty touch-and-go affair to whether he keeps P5 or stays in P6.
I've got to point out here, Joseph, I'm not sure if you're watching the screen share, but if you have a look at the penalties that are, endured by each every one of the drivers, Paulos has got 22 seconds. It was 18 still for Will Gibson. He's just picked up an additional 3 to bring his total up to 21. So it is only 1 second between the two drivers. I'm not sure if this is an unofficial championship they've started, but by the look of it, they're wanting to try and gain most penalties claimed at the moment. And Paulos is winning by 1 second.
Yep. That is the new competition. There's actually bonus points on the line for that, so that's why they're all going for penalties. I'm joking, obviously. Unless Ace just randomly sticks that into the rule book. Go ahead. You might want to. Razagamer's just ruined everything I've just been said, which is pretty much symptomatic of my 7 or 8 years waffling on the F1 games. Yeah, I've commentators cursed him. He's got a penalty in the same lap that I was on about him not having a penalty.
To be honest, that would be a great wild card to do for one of these events, is whoever scores the most penalties without getting disqualified gets like 25 bonus points. Because it's running that risk, and it'll constantly be like someone trying to one-up you every single time. And eventually someone will get disqualified for taking it to... That sounds hilarious. We're doing that at some point.
Basically, Ace, I was just suggesting most penalties gets bonus points, but TK has essentially one-up me and gone most points without being disqualified, and then you've got everybody trying to, just beat each other on that. And
if you get disqualified,
that'd be really good. Yeah,
it's 0 points for your team, like in the race as well.
Yeah.
You score nothing. There's that
I
risk.
Agree. That's a good idea.
I love this idea. We have got Phil, though, and Rio Harris still scrapping it out. Oh, my goodness. What a send from Rio Harris, trying to get the move done in towards the tight left-hander. Still at the end of the back straight. The young 17-year-old is not giving up here to try and secure 4th place. I know he'll probably get it when penalties are applied, but he wants it on track, and he wants it now as we head on to what will be the final lap with Tony Hightower just making their way through Big Red for the final time onto lap 28 of 28. Everybody else just making their way around. Rio Harris, of course, will score good points here. Minimum of 4th. And, of course, unless we see drivers up at the front get a considerable amount more of penalties, it will be a good day at the office for himself.
It will be. And one more lap to go here. Still to be fought out on track, of course, if they so choose. But, yeah, I think the penalties have pretty much determined the outcome of this race. Sort of knew it was coming. From the minute the first few penalties came in. I think we had like 5 or 6 drivers on penalties after 3 laps of the race. No safety cars in this one, though. The Americans thought well and put the barriers much further away than they are in areas of Zandvoort. So well done to them. Very safe in their track design. But Tony Hightower is into the final sector of the track now. A 4-second lead. Penalties, yeah, they have come, but he's managed the gap really well and not really had to worry at any stage in this race. A solid performance from a race-winning fanatic.
Absolutely right. He'll come through the final corner. Tony Hightower takes victory here in the Circuit of the Americas. Luca Rapasso will come home and take second on circuit. Will Gibson steals away the most penalties at the final time of asking by getting an additional 3 seconds. He'll finish on 24 unless he's able to get any more bonus points right at the end. Oh, there's 10 seconds. I think you've got to watch it as Will Gibson now is on 34 seconds worth of penalties. This is somewhat incredible from himself. I'd say incredible in quite possibly the worst way, but still incredible nonetheless. Phil will come home 4th place on circuit. Of course, Rio Harris will claim that away when penalties are applied. So fantastic point to the young man. Razor Gaming finishes what would have been 5th, but Formula Kai, who remained, I believe, also penalty-free, will steal that away. We'll get the complete order as they come across the line. The likes of Didi, Milan and Formula Momo, all lapped cars that have made their way through the field and have to try and figure themselves out here. And everybody else just dragging their way to the line to ensure they don't get themselves another 5 seconds. Look at this. I think it might have been stolen away once again here, Joseph, as Paulos, I think, got a net to 10 seconds worth of penalties if memory serves.
Will Gibson's still fighting away, though. Might try and cheekily extends.
He's done
37.
it! He's done it!
37!
This is
Oh,
fantastic.
my word. I cannot believe he's not been disqualified. You know what? Fair play, Will Gibson. That is quite the effort to bribe the in-game stewards to not throw you out that race.
I was under the impression that the limit was 30 seconds worth of penalties was enough for disqualification. Apparently, according no longer, as that is now 37 seconds that Will Gibson has just proved to us, and we will get a complete tally of all the drivers. Fastest lap was Will Gibson, right at the final time of asking. It was Tony Hightower, your race winner. Driver of the day was IRT Phil, along with the most overtakes. Phantom Fox, though, picking up the cleanest driver award from today's endeavours, and we can see all of the penalties coming through here. So it was 32 seconds for Paulos in the end. Will Gibson, what did he get? I think it was about 40-something seconds, 37. So only 5 seconds between the two drivers. Very, very close indeed. But it was Hightower from Rapasa, from Frozen, from Harris, from Kai, from Raza, Phil, Matt, Oni, Kitsune, and Phantom Fox as your top 10. It's then Yari, Paulos, Ted, Misha, Will Gibson, Didi Royale, Milan, Formula Momo, and your DNFs for today's racing endeavours would have been Mathis and, of course, SZR Lally. Both of those dropping 5 points for their respective teams. Of course, you're not allowed to retire in pit lane under these charity conditions. They have been docked points for their team here.
Yeah, rules are rules, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm used to points deductions. I'll do a self-burn on that one. But yeah, another really fun race. I'm looking forward to a break and watching Monaco. So yes, enjoy that one, TK.
Absolutely will. It's been an absolute pleasure, folks. Circuit of the Americas never seems to disappoint for us here in F1 25, but we head across ever so shortly to the Principality of Monaco. Joseph will be back on your screens in just over an hour's time for the 2 races that follow that. But until we see you in the next few moments, we will be right back. and gentlemen, racers and race sets, we welcome you to the pinnacle of the Principality, the best time in the evening for racing as we head to the Principality of Monaco and we head to quite possibly what I can only describe as Mario Kart. We head to a session that has midnight. It is full wet. It is no damage. It is no rules. It is going to be wall riding central, and I am all for it. My name's Tom Knight. Pleasure to be with you once again. Alongside me, Rio Harris is back in the commentary box with me as well. Now, Rio, we talk about Monaco as so many times as how close the walls are, how many times it is easy just to clip a wing, especially as you head through the likes of, the opening quarter through Casino Square, down through Mirabeau, and of course through Portier as well. We saw Perez spin just a couple of years ago. Now that that sort of element of restriction has been removed on our drivers, where do you think they stand? Are we going to see that wall riding, or are we going to see maybe a little bit more traditional racing because they still believe it's going to be faster?
Well, we will definitely see the wall riding. Of that, there is no doubt. Especially, my main example would probably be the hairpin in towards obviously the slowest. It's statistically the slowest corner in Formula One, so the hairpin will be the favourite place to wall ride. Obviously, at the top of the hill as well. Somewhere where you might see a couple failed attempts is into the Rascasse, where you can wall ride if you get it right, but there is a chance your front wing will just completely clatter into the wall, and you will probably lose about 5, 10, 15 seconds.
You're absolutely right. It's going to be one that is interesting to try and keep an eye out for. And of course, we can't talk about Monaco. We can't talk about no rules without mentioning the Nouvelle Chicane as we head through. Swimming pool. I was about to say bus stop. That's completely the other side of the world in Belgium. But of course, those two chicanes, which are quite notably some of the biggest opportunities for crashes and DNFs, they are no longer a factor. We're going back to essentially what is old school Monaco, where you go straight out of the tunnel, you can foot flat to the floor, all the way to the back corner. It's straight across as you head down in towards what is the essential final sections of the corners before hitting Rascasse through Anthony No as well. And then up towards the line, we can pretty much count out first corner. Saint-Devote is going to cause zero issues because they can cut across essentially what is pit exit. So there is going to be lots of opportunities for drivers to be creative with what traditionally track limits would have been.
Yeah, about that. Obviously, there could be drivers taking chicanes, chicanes will no longer exist. It will just be completely, like you mentioned, I'll reiterate, foot to the floor for pretty much most of the lap, especially for the Nouvelle Chicane. You could see some random movements to the back, maybe. Rascasse will be probably the favourite overtaking spot because that is probably a corner where you have to. It's probably quicker to take it normally, really, in the Rascasse out of anywhere, and Anthony knows as well. That's probably the two main overtaking spots. But, okay, qualifying will be interesting because we're going to get a slight idea of what maybe the optimal lines are going to be. Who do you reckon's favourite for pole in this no rules?
It's a tough one because everything you know about this circuit is thrown out the window. You have absolutely zero idea as to what's going to happen. You can't even go, this person has the world record here, because we are no longer playing by traditional rules. We've got this element of uncertainty to a point of there's no fear. Drivers will be throwing it around every single corner, and I actually can't wait to see what happens. We've got a stacked lineup in terms of drivers that are lining up here today. The likes of Liam Stevens coming in, of course, PCF2 driver, PSGL, Luca Rapassa, who we saw last time out. We've got, of course, Raccoons, also known as a local chemist, also known as Alexis Mason, also known as the Pancake Queen, amongst varying communities. And I'm so glad we don't have text-to-speech here, because I guarantee we'd probably get a pancake recipe in our ears. So lots and lots of people to look out for, and certainly make their way through. Of course, D'Amico as well, PSGL PCF4. But let's go across to the pre-race, and as you can see, my frame rate is about to take a battering because it is absolutely sodden here in the Principality. It is full wet. It is absolutely, to save another word, and Ace, apologies for this, it is absolutely pissing it down in the Principality? The Principality.
So that the rain obviously is tricky enough in just normal Monaco, but full wets. Well, it's not full. Sorry, no rules. It just adds that element of you have to take the risk. Is the no rules here? And I'm currently looking at the race director. Currently, one driver's gone for the intermediate compound tires, but in a couple seconds' time, we will begin to see which drivers are going to take the lines. What type of lines we will see. It will be green flags. We will be going foot to the floor to begin our opening and single lap here in no rules qualifying. We make it through the first turn.
Oh my
and
goodness!
Just see the cuts as we climb the hill, and I'm now intrigued to see what wall running we're going to we are going to see as we get at the top of the hill. It's just sensational already. Wall riding being used to perfection.
I must admit, coming through Sandoval and just seeing Alexis Mace. Oh no, she's got it wrong. I was going to praise her for the briefest of moments as she slammed into the barrier at Sandoval. It was almost perfect, and she gets the hairpin absolutely perfect. I don't know how Cookie's retired from the session. There's no damage. Maybe they just feel they aren't going to be as competitive as first thought. But we'll watch on board with Lightcast, who is, of course, the leading car, the Mercedes. I think, and oh my goodness, the speed they have taken through what is traditionally the Nouvelle Chicane. And oh, I think they've got that wrong, though, through Swimming Pool, and they have. Nile Goat, of course, mates their way through now in towards Raskas Corner for what could possibly be the quickest lap of Monaco that we've seen for a very, very long time, especially in wet conditions. They round through Anthony Noel up towards the start-finish line. What are we going to see? The rain is falling down. 1:10.895. That's on par with the full dry qualifying session. And it will be Niall that takes the top spot for the hotel.
Absolute cinema, just seeing guys absolutely blitz on by the Nouvelle Chicane, and even with the no rules, of course he's on it. Of course he's at the top. It's Niall on pole position by 0.4 of a second ahead. It's an all French front row lockout, to be fair, with Toro in the kick Sauber, and then someone who was on the provisional pole for a long time, Lightcast, until they got it wrong through Swimming Pool. Just unfortunate for the German driver. It's actually an all German second row as well. So we got the two French leading the way, then the two German, and then Milan in the Red Bull in fifth, Luca Rapassa in sixth, one of the favourites to win if it was normal. Liam Stevens in seventh, alongside Formula Kai, and then ninth and 10th is for Ollie and Will Gibson. Your one driver who did not set a lap time, HB Cook for the Owls esports team. But one thing was that I cannot wait for this race start whatsoever.
Me neither, and I must apologise. Niall Guillot, I think I've pronounced that wrong, and if anybody knows, I am very bad at pronouncing names, so I do get it wrong. Feel free to correct me as much as you possibly can. It's something that happens as we make our way through. Being told as well, Cookie wanted to start race from the back and get some tips on what to do. I mean, that's a fair assumption, right? If you've never driven Monaco no rules before, watch what the pros are doing and follow their line for the next, 39 laps of racing that we're going to have here over the course of this session. It's going to be a really interesting one. It is still, I believe, a mandatory two-stop race, from what I understand as well. I think I might be wrong in that. I don't know. I need to get some double check. And Adam 2.0, Ace Knows Ball. If you were here for the 24 Hours of Mind, you'll know about Adam. A very particular individual, and one that I won't stop talking about because he provided the comic relief amongst the sweat that was happening in those races. So, you know, as I said earlier, the rule of funny overrides the rule of sweat in these races. You will get more airtime.
Yeah, about sure. Again, I've reiterated what I've been saying. I cannot wait for this race start. I do think you are right that the two stops will be still in place. I think in real life it's not, but I think in the game it is coded to be the two stop. But one thing is for certain, we are going to probably see a couple of cars spun as we go to the 5 red lights. Take it away, TK.
Right, there we go. 4 and 5 red lights, and drivers are jumping the start. They're not waiting for starters' orders, and we are underway at Monaco, and nobody is waiting. And Niles straight off the button. Oh my goodness! What are we seeing? That is a collection of cars making their way through Sandoval. Oh my goodness! A Haas is upside down. I think that's Alexis Mason, who was up on her side and certainly almost upside down at one point. But what a start we have just seen here in the Principality as drivers try to get themselves accustomed with the no rules racing, and that is exactly what we expected to happen. There's carnage further back as we've got a car go backwards. I think that's going to be D'Amico potentially. I'm not quite sure which car that is. It's the Red Bull of Milan, who's facing the wrong way at the moment.
Yeah, the top three have absolutely checked out here in Monaco. You see the top three blitz through this side by side behind between Mixie and Lightcast as they run down through the tunnel down towards the Nouvelle Chicane. I really want to see two drivers go side by side through here. Liam Stevens will be the man to go wheel to wheel with the kick Sauber. Splitting foot. Oh my god! Into the wall goes the kick Sauber. Oh my god, there's another pile-up on the exit of Tabak. But Niall leads the Grand Prix ahead of Luca Rapassa. And then it is D'Amico in third, Formula Kai in P4. Ollie Hornby for the commentary team, by the way, up in P5. Toro, who started up with the front row, down into P6. And then Ben Huskins is in P7.
This is stunning. This is what you come here at 3 a.m. for, ladies and gentlemen, because you don't come here for serious racing at stupid o'clock in the morning. You come here to watch drivers play Mario Kart around the streets of the Principality. And this is exactly how you should drive Monaco. It is not designed for modern day Formula 1 cars, but it is designed for essentially bumper cars. And oh no, that's Formula Kai getting it wrong. Through goes to make it Ollie Hornby, slams through the air. No, that's actually a Toro that slams into the Ferrari. And Formula Kai is going backwards, resets to second. Liam Stevens tries to get through, can't quite on this occasion. Here comes Milan going sideways in towards the Grand Hotel hairpin, and that's going to be light cars trying to go through as well. Everybody's still trying to understand the basic physics of these cars as they figure out how to most effectively slam them into a barrier.
I've just witnessed Alexis absolutely send it into the side of the EX8 driver for the Mercedes at the hairpin. Just fastest lap at 11.9 in full wet conditions. Luca Rapasso dropping back a couple of tenths, and D'Amico through turn 1 gaining 4 tenths on Luca Rapasso. Further back though, HB gets ahead of Lightcast for P10, and then Liam Stevens and Milan going wheel to wheel. Milan going for the up and under as on the inside in towards Anthony Nose goes Milan Langer. That's probably the first bit of normal racing we have seen as the Williams and the Mercedes run wheel to wheel through Anthony Nose. Into the wall goes the Williams as we apply the power and go down the main straight, down towards the opening corner of the circuit. Liam Stevens is in the wall and is momentarily stationary. Lightcast completely soaring right around the outside, taking turn 1 near on flat and up into 10th place.
Certainly right, and we watch here as well as Alexis Mason, that is Raccoons on your screen, right on the back of HB Cookie for the Owls esports team, which is of course Sheffield Wednesday's esports outfit. And if you haven't seen their facility at the stadium, go watch some of their streams, because this is absolutely fantastic to watch from their point of view. Up the Owls, absolutely, as Shaw says in the chat, but the racing is still good. Oh my goodness, cars once again in the barrier as the Williams, with quite possibly the most tactical pit manoeuvre I've ever seen in Formula 1, slamming Alexis Mason into the barriers harder than she's ever been. And again, side-by-side racing through the tunnel. Normally, drivers would be slamming on the anchors at this point, but look at the speed they carry through towards the back corner, using the banking and the barriers to their advantage. And this is stunning. This is absolutely stunning.
This is what you stay out till 2:30 in the morning for, just to see this chaotic race. There's Will Gibson pit manoeuvring the Williams as now they run side by side in towards Anthony. Will Gibson will be absolutely loving this, almost putting the Williams in the rule. They run now side by side down the main straight. Will giving the Williams a shove as we make our way down towards turn number 1. Will Gibson up into P12. Look how much more speed and confidence. Oh no! Round goes Will Gibson and the Ferrari. I think Joseph might have actually corrected Gibson there as Gibson slowly now gets on the throttle. But that gap already between first and fourth is 15 seconds. And TK, it's only lap 4.
It is only lap 4. We've got 35 more laps of this to go. And of course, what we have to remember, we look up at the front runners as they make their way through Raskas and through Anthony Noah as well. I believe blue flags basically don't apply here. So we're at a moment where drivers don't necessarily have to try and, let people pass. We will see active blocking. We will see drivers not wanting to let these front runners go. Whether that's intentional or not, we are yet to see, because of course I don't think many, apart from the front maybe 7, have figured out how to control these cars effectively as of yet. Even the likes of Liam Stevens, I think, is having issues here. Formula Kai as well, who's just been overtaken by Alexis Mason in towards Raskas corner. Everybody's just figuring out how the cars work.
Yeah, without a doubt. And Luca Rapasso losing time once again. D'Amico slowly closing in as well. Milan is trying to hunt down Ben Hoskins in that respective battle for P6 and P7. Liam Stevens being put under pressure from Lightcast, who was actually one of the favourites from Power. They entered the final sector, but obviously a mistake as they ride the walls. Oh my word, that is sensational speed they take at the top of the hill as they make their way down towards Mirabeau, I believe this is. Will Lightcast think of a dive? Liam Stevens going sliding in towards the hairpin we go. Will we see an outrageous send on the inside by Lightcast? Going to think around the outside, but look how close they're running. Milan has now got ahead of Ben Hoskins, further ahead as Lightcast is still just completely sliding that car around, trying to put pressure on Liam Stevens. Could we see a move in towards Tabak on the exit of the tunnel? Well, really, it's just going to be completely flat out as they make their way on the exit of the tunnel, slightly down the hill, completely cutting across the kink, and Lightcast slightly tapping the wall as they go in towards Tabak. Look how close the Mercedes is getting. Has to lift off a little bit as Liam Stevens clatters the wall, but then so does Lightcast. Look at pushing the limits here in Monaco.
I'm gone. This is bloody ridiculous. But this is fantastic. When I signed the petition to add this to every event ever, I can guarantee you I will be like begging Nathan. Actually, I'm just overriding Nathan when we run the event in, I think, August, that this is going to become Monaco. Because this is spectacular. Why didn't we think of this before? Like, just turn off damage, turn off rules, and let them go at it. This is the funniest thing I've ever seen. And this is exactly what... If you're not donating right now, and, like, you know, I appreciate it's 3 a.m., get that money up, because this is hilarious. And that we're providing this entertainment for free.
Oh my god!
This is brilliant.
I've just witnessed Joseph absolutely pit maneuver HB, but HB enabled to hold the position. Niall was a brand new fastest lap of this race, a 1:11.3. That gap between the top two now 4.2 seconds. Luca Rapace seems to be taking it a lot more cautious, but as I say that, he gains 5 tenths of a second through the opening corner. The closest battle on the circuit between Joseph and Cook in the Williams and the Red Bull for their respective teams as they make their way through the tunnel. And we could see a side-by-side moment on the exit of the tunnel. They run wheel to wheel, don't go into the wall, gents, side by side, down towards the back. Who will back out of it? No one's going to back out of it.
Oh! Oh, Cookie just losing out. I think that is quite possibly one of the most heartbreaking moments you've seen. I want to ride on board with someone. Let's see who's heading through the tunnel at the moment. I think 17th place is. I'm breaking my cardinal sin. They're taking the Nouvelle chicane at 175 miles an hour. For those of you that can't get a sense of just how quick that is, that's about 2.5 times the legal speed on the motorway in the United Kingdom, and they're doing it on roads that are basically designed as one car in each direction. As Viral facing the wrong direction. That's Formula Kai as well, up further forward. Oh, getting the better of Alexis Mason, instantly hitting the barrier, doing a stoppie in a Ferrari, and managing to get the car back pointed the right direction, but Alexis Mason benefiting from that once again. And this is, there is no way to describe this bar Mario Kart on steroids.
This is arguably the most fun I've ever had commentated. Just seeing cars absolutely sling through the corners. Formula Kai getting absolutely plummeted into the barrier. What have you seen, TK?
I've just seen, I think, Lightcast abuse Ben Huskins. We had 3 cars making their way through, I think that was the swimming pool section. Ben Huskins gets it all kinds of wrong. It was side by side between Liam Stevens and himself. Sorry, Lightcast and himself. And the Mercedes just takes out the front axle of Ben Huskins, forcing him into the barrier. So the side-by-side racing was no more.
Oh, there's lap traffic for the leaders already. Luca Rapace has actually lost position to the Michael. He's missed change of position for P2 as we make our way straight away. It's just so funny every time we see it as we make our way through the tunnel, then through to back. That gap out in front for Niall, 9.1 seconds. Even in the give him anything, and I think Tomiko's almost spun the car as he has. Luca Rapace is going to think of moving the inside, but drifts the car, will hold the car, keeping P3. Tomiko up, and Liam Stevens is getting so close. He is currently actually inside the Mercedes, who was ghosting, or I thought ghosting was off, as they make their way now down through the tunnel, down towards the back once again. Liam Stevens thinking smart, turning the battery off, but we just want to see people sending it as we go through to back once again in the battle with, for P7PA, excuse me, as Liam Stevens getting it all wrong through the swimming pool section, clattering the wall, and the Aston Martin is taking the suboptimal line.
He certainly is, and certainly one that you wouldn't want to try and replicate to the best of his abilities. We've just had confirmation that this is, of course, the 2-stop mandatory, regardless of whether it is wet and or dry. And Alexis Mason getting the better of Liam Stevens there, so just proving that she can indeed run with the big boys at the moment. And in towards the opening corner, it's going to be Haas versus Aston Martin, who's braver in what is essentially cutting the entirety of the first corner. Mason sends it straight across what would have normally been the extremities of turn 1. This is absolutely stunning as they make their way through. Minimum 2-stop there. Just clarification in the Twitch chat as well. Joseph battling out with Lightcast for 12th place on circuit. I've never seen a Grand Prix more spread out than this, where we're not complaining that Monaco's boring.
Monaco is Monaco. Liam Stevens going for a send, but what a defensive move around the outside for Alexis Mason, a local pancake you could call her, as you can completely sends it round the outside. Formula Kai starting to close in as well on this battle for 8th and 9th. But the closest battle we've got is currently Lightcast, the only driver currently who has made a pit stop. Lightcast absolutely drifting on the exit of Portier now. Through the tunnel we go. This is the battle for P12. This is actually, I think, the only battle we have on circuit within 1 second as we plummet straight through the Nouvelle chicane. Not even the chicane, we can just call it the Nouvelle straight at this point as we go through the swimming pool section. Look how close and committed that Lightcast is, absolutely pushing the Renault through. Oh no, there's a Ferrari. It's Will Gibson.
Will Gibson. At least this time he can't get any track limits penalties. If you remember, you were here for Cota a few minutes ago. Will Gibson drifting himself in towards pit lane and does so rather successfully and manages to at least get the car stopped on a dime. It's intermediates for both himself and I think that's Lightcast as well, opting for the green striped Pirelli tyres. And we've had clarification here. Baby Park plus unlimited red shells. I think this is exactly what this is. This is Mario Kart, but with bigger, expensive cars. And if this isn't the money that Monaco wants to try and like provide, this is hilarious. Let's do more of this.
I will be signing up for it every single time. As Alexis is having a little bit of a slide on the exit. I think you've just seen a Ferrari through the opening corner. Will Gibson just clattering the wall. Will Gibson trying to hunt down the Owls esports driver representing their team for this particular event. It's probably the most famous time. Oh my goodness, who was that? That was a Haas. I think that might have been Alexis Mason climbing the hill. No, it wasn't. It was DC Viral. I apologise. As now Formula Kai will absolutely try and do what Alexis did to Formula Kai. They're going to run side by side through in towards Anthony Nutt. I think Alexis actually now peeling into pit lane. So Formula Kai will move up into 8th. Liam Stephen will move up into 9th. Alexis, where will they drop down to? Lightcast is getting close to the rear as we go on the exit of Anthony Nose. Plummet down the main straight. Will we see an outrageous dive bomb, or will they just play it careful as they make their way in towards turn 1? Down on the inside goes the Mercedes with a sensational move.
Absolutely fantastic, and certainly one that you want to try and, you know, pay your dividends to. You want to try and make the advantage where it counts, and turn 1 is probably one of those corners that if you nail it, you will gain so much time compared to the cars around you. We see the likes that have really made impressions. D'Amico as well in towards pit road for FST, and currently sits in 3rd place. Ollie Hornby for the commentary team, wanting to try and improve on that as well. And one thing I hadn't really brought up here in the stream, Rio, and one thing that I've really, I've had questions, and Shaw's actually just brought this point up. Those that have got the higher end of force feedback wheels, I'm talking you're probably your 12, your 15, your 18 Newton meters. I hope they've turned them down.
Well, shout out when we send many force feedback instances. I think it happened once in the Creator Series Monaco with that guy Vince, I do believe, where he had...
Yes and no, it wasn't Monaco's fault necessarily.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I think it was a Hayden left the session, I think it was.
Yeah, so we had for those of you that weren't there and haven't seen the clip, trigger warning, dislocated thumb. Basically, the screen went black for the drivers. We had a lobby reset. It was one of those things where the host disconnected. It went, yada yada, screen went black. And Vince's Moser R9 went nuts. It started spinning left and right really quickly without warning, and he had his thumb in the thumb hole, obviously where you normally have your thumb resting. And yeah, as it threw itself to one side, it dislocated his thumb, unfortunately. But we've seen many instances where, you know, wheels, especially direct drive wheels, those with the higher force feedbacks, do snap. And, you know, they are designed to be able to overcome muscles and try and hold back forces. So it's natural that when you've got no kind of force on it and it just snaps, it, you know, it's got a good bit of weight to it sometimes.
I mean, yeah, obviously force feedback is something that can break a lot of thumbs, a lot of hands, a lot of wrists. But I mean, like you mentioned, I do hope for their sake that they have turned it down. And something that we mentioned earlier in the race is Ollie now because they had a Milan who is in pit lane. Something you mentioned earlier, if the blue flags aren't going to play a part, do you reckon there's going to be any of the back markers that maybe should try and play some games with the leaders? Just for the fun, just to create some chaos. Obviously, Niall yet to box in this race. Do you reckon Niall knows he has to do 2 stops?
Well, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Unless they take them right at the final moment or just as they catch maybe a slow back marker. I think we're going to see some very tactical pit stops. But I think Niall has got this down to a T here. I'm almost tempted to do a full lap on board with him just to see how he's taking the corners in hope that maybe it helps some of the other drivers. But you can see there's certain corners where he doesn't use the full extremities of the barrier. Most notably as he headed into what is that's Casino Square, the right-handed down through Mirabeau, and we see so many drivers just fully abusing every single aspect of the barrier, but actually Niall's being really smart with the barriers that he's choosing to take and not to take. And actually this is where it's paying off. He uses the tyre grip, the limited tyre grip that's available here in Monaco, but actually not relying on the barriers to get the car rotated in every single situation. Liam Stevens has retired from the race. How?
Where is he? He's just parked in the swimming pool section. Might have been a disconnection. I
think he just given up.
I don't know why. I thought this was going to be quite fun. Something we have missed as well. D'Amico has lost position to Luca Rapassa. Like you were saying, by using the wall smartly, he's getting off the wall quicker, so then he can just open up the corner to get that extra exit speed instead of taking the corner really, really tight. As oh my god, the back marker, I believe, of Ben Huskins clattering the ball along with Niall Guillot. I believe that is how you pronounce his surname, as Luca Rapassa on the Inters currently down on their personal best. In comparison to Niall, though, they are 35 seconds behind your race leader here in Monte Carlo. That puts out the Owls Esports driving out in the 13th, Nuclear Nadal into 14th, at Mixie into 15th, and it will be DC Viral who will move up to 16th. So Liam Stevens, I have no idea what happened to him, but out of the Grand Prix.
Certainly so. I'm sure we'll get some answers within the next few moments as to what has happened to Liam Stevens, regardless, unless he has, maybe suffered an injury. We're not going to rule that out at the moment. Obviously, we hope not. That is certainly not something we want as an outcome of this, because if that does happen, we're almost certainly never coming back to doing this race again. We are just trying to keep an eye. Oh, there we go. Game crashed, unlucky. Such a shame. So yeah, that was unfortunately a game issue more for Liam Stevens. So yeah, does fall himself down the order. Will not, I believe, get himself that -5 points, which he saw two drivers do, as Niall makes his first pit stop of the afternoon, opting for a fresh set of full wets.
Yeah, that is heartbreak for Liam Stevens and for Fromage Racing, who I believe are actually they might be in a championship fight for top spot in this whole event. Niall is going to come out a country mile ahead of the rest. Luca Rapassa and D'Amico seem to be absolutely glued to each other, taking similar lines as Luca Rapassa, losing a bit of speed there as they enter the Rascas. D'Amico giving Luca a little bit of a shove. Go on, send it in the inside at anti-nose, but on this occasion he will do no such thing. Niall was already at the top of the hill as these two make their way onto lap number 16 in their respective race. Niall has already started lap number 16. Luca Rapassa now starting to pull away a little bit, gap up to 7/10 of a second, make that 8/10 of a second, as only 4 drivers remain on the full west. Further behind, Toro and Ollie Hornby went wheel to wheel. On this occasion, it's Toro on the freshest intermediates of the field, up into P4. Ollie Hornby for the commentary team down into P5. And the closest battle we still have is still remaining between second and third in the battle for the final 2 podium positions.
Certainly right, and I think that's the battle that we will be watching for the majority of this race. We are encroaching on that halfway point. We'll hit it about 19 and a half laps through this race, so we'll call it at the start of lap 20 for the sake of argument, and in towards that we are rapidly approaching. I don't want to understate quite how quick this race is going, but we are getting through this incredibly quickly, and we can have a look at the lap times. The best times our drivers done, 1:11s around Monaco. This is dry running in wet weather conditions. That is the speed we're seeing here.
I would love to see, so if someone took just a lap normally, I would love to see the pace difference, just to calculate how much quicker we are going on average per lap, because obviously this is scheduled, I believe, like maybe to last an hour. There's a really high chance we are done quite earlier before this, just due to the extra lap time that they're able to find in the walls. Next up for Niall is he will be lapping Formula Kai, but due to the no rules, as Milan has actually disconnected from the session, Formula Kai going to be lapped from Niall, but Niall will not be having the blue flags, which will help indicate Formula Kai that he will have to get through. I'm going to quickly invite Milan.
Absolutely right, and trying to make their way through. That's a mistake from the Ferrari. I believe that's going to be Will Gibson. No, it's not. It's going to be Formula Kai, as you were so correctly saying. More mistakes for Formula Kai as he made his way through Raskas and through Anthony No as well, and that's going to make no problems there for Niall as he passes his way through in towards what would traditionally be one of the heavier braking zones on this circuit, but can almost take it flat out as they slam their cars into the exit barrier of Saint Devote, and up Beau Rivard as they go up towards Massenet. And of course through Casino Square, the right-hander, again, another heavy braking zone traditionally, just trying to slam the car down through the gears and down the hill. They'll climb towards Mirabeau. And then they've got to focus on the hairpin. That's going to be an important factor for our drivers. Of course, the Grand Hotel hairpin has been named many things over the course of the season and, well, many years as well. I've heard a squeal from Rio. I can only imagine something's happened.
Ollie Hornby's wheel to wheel in towards Anthony though, side by side with Toro on the exit of the corner, and Ollie Hornby gets the move. They were side by side. The lapped car of HB Cook was interfering with this little battle, and it allowed Ollie Hornby to just close up to the rear of the Kick-Sauer and able to make a move into the Raskaspo. Behind Ben Huskins in the wall, contact with Milan Langer in the Red Bull, and I think Milan might actually still be under AI. I'm not too sure. I don't think he is, as they go on the exit of Anthony knows. That gap between second and third is 0.8 of a second. Toro is 0.7 behind Ollie Hornby, who is starting to pull away. Niall was a brand new fastest lap, a 1:11.385 further behind Joseph and Will Gibson running wheel to wheel, and oh my goodness me, Will Gibson's in the wall.
Oh, we switched to him there as that Ferrari pointed at a 90-degree angle from the corner exit there at Anthony No, and just demonstrating to the Italian fans how he can do maths and point angles correctly as he slams that Italian stallion in towards the exit barrier once again. And whoever's designed these Armco barriers, fair play to you. Matt Amos has probably done an inside scoop on this particular barrier. If you didn't know, he's just been nominated and awarded and voted, whatever you want to call it, as the Sky Sports Grid Insider. Massive congratulations to him. We very much look forward to seeing even more videos, because the ones he's done without F1 access are incredible. If you haven't watched Matt Amos's videos, go watch them. They are just stunning. But now he's got insider access. Expect so many more videos from that man, who has got incredible storytelling talent when it comes to Formula One and safety and everything else that goes along with it. The behind-the-scenes stuff that we're really looking forward to seeing. Matt Amos, indeed, yes.
Yeah, so yeah, if you haven't, go check him out already. He's a lovely person making world-class videos. Ben Huskins as well as D'Amico and Luca Rapace ran wheel to wheel. Luca Rapace actually has made a mistake. I believe the PSGL Formula 2 champion making a mistake there, and is there the chance they've disconnected, because they seem to be taking the normal lines here, and there might have been a disconnection for Luca Rapace, or they are currently sat in AI. They've lost 4.4 seconds. Something has happened to Luca Rapace. I have no clue what. I think Luca's back now. Maybe wheel issues here, because you just saw him jiggling the wheel to see if something could have happened there. But no, back in AI now. Something's happened to Luca Rapace.
Certainly so. And I think he must be able to get himself going. You can see, or we'll figure out whether his car wall rides or not. And no, there we go. He's taking the line normally. I think, yeah, he's back in AI mode. So definitely some issues for Luca Rapace. Of course, he is sat rather comfortably within the top three. He's got Ollie Hornby. As he teleports back. I'm just making sure that's not my connection more than anything. I think we are still good. We are still 5x5 at the moment. Yeah, Rapace and Milan drops out. And, oh, yeah, definitely some issues on the network side. Something's going on. I don't know. Something's going on.
I have absolutely no idea what's going on. I have no idea it's my end, but I think we're experiencing the same thing. So, one thing a second, I think it might be Luca Rapace, because look at the gap. Look at Ollie Hornby, who is absolutely charging. Make sure he doesn't straight line into Luca Rapace on the exit of the Nouvelle chicane. Luca Rapace is about to take the Nouvelle chicane. No, he's not. He's back. Ollie Luca Rapace is back. I think he's still trying to figure out these wheels issues, but no, he's back in AI mode once again. So surely this will be a slam dunk pass for Ollie Hornby in the Williams as they make their way through the swimming pool section. Surely it's going to be a move done for Ollie Hornby, and officially a bit of bias here. We're celebrating it. Ollie Hornby for the commentary team onto the podium is further behind Ben Huskins, running wheel to wheel with Milan momentarily. Milan has actually disconnected as well. Make that no longer, because they have now rejoined the session.
That they certainly have, and we're on lap 21 of 39. We've had requests to just clarify the pit stop situation at the moment. As you can see on the screen, everybody bar one driver opting for the, well, at least the one stop of the way. I'll say that's Nuclear Nadal does make his way in towards pit road for the very first time. I wouldn't be surprised here, Rio, if a lot of drivers do opt to pit maybe on lap 37, 38. They've got no need to. In terms of the tyre wear, they're not exactly being stressed. There's no horrible corners for them to take. Their tyres are under no dramatic load. The barriers are doing most of the heavy lifting here in terms of rotating the car for most of the corners. So I wouldn't imagine the tyres are actually suffering much tyre wear, if any.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, obviously the corners are barely having to turn the wheel, because it's just the wall riding, which we have seen so much in Formula 1. I want to see, is Luca Rapassa back? Yeah, I think he's still trying to deal with these issues. I think he might be back now, though. Yeah, I think Luca Rapassa is well and truly back now. We will have to hunt down Ollie Hornby and Toro here. The gap between third and fifth, I believe, sat at currently maybe 6.6 seconds, 6.1 seconds, as Luca Rapassa makes his way through Anthony Nose to head on to lap. I don't actually know what lap we're on. Lap 22. Luca Rapassa about to head on lap 22. Niall is absolutely checking out and has gone 2 tenths quicker in the middle sector. Absolutely flying, which I think every driver is currently flying in standards of full wet Monaco, but Niall is just somehow, even in the no rules, finding that extra grip.
You're absolutely right, and I think one thing that's really interesting to note here at the moment is as they make their way through all of these races, we look at the drivers that are going on, and the front two are the only 2 drivers that remain on the full wet tyres. Everybody from 3rd down to what is now 16th, so everybody else in the order has opted for the intermediate tyres. But there's a great scrap going on here. But 7th and 8th, I almost said 6th and 7th, that would have been a bit of a miscalculation on my part, between both Alexis Mason and Formula Kai. It's a great scrap that it quite literally hasn't stopped ever. No. Not at Monaco. Don't bring the mood down.
Almost Formula Kai just absolutely plummeted Alexis Mason into the wall. They both tagged the wall on the exit of Mirabeau in towards the chicane. Formula Kai drifting, but at the wall arguably saved his spin as they make their way through the next ladder in towards Portier. We go, and Alexis has been, this TK has been a battle that has been going on, I think, for the whole race that we've been watching so far.
Pretty much so far. It hasn't seemed to cease for anything longer than a lap, I would imagine, as Alexis Mason, I think, has got Formula Kai in her pocket, not necessarily wanting to give up any ounce of advantage that either of the driver has at the moment in time. And I think, you know, as much as we talk about dirty air when it comes to F125, I don't think it's going to have that much of an impact here. As you said, there's not really any major zones where we're having to rely on the aerodynamics of the car here. And we're being told by Heather, of course, a race engineer by default for Alexis at this moment in time. Alexis is locked in right now, even when I try to distract her. What I would suggest is play something pancake related that normally gets her attention. Oh, there goes Kai. Tried to send it down the inside as they made their way through what was Massenet and through Casino Square. Tried to go too wide, did not go into the same corner, and round went Formula Kai.
You could say, call it no rules. It's a lovely defense as Luca Rapassa has absolutely put Toro in the wall. Luca Rapassa now up into 4th place. Ben Huskins is now also got by Formula Kai, who might have had another moment because now they are 2 seconds behind. Do you reckon Ben Huskins as well might have made a bit of contact with Kai? Kai absolutely drifting through the exit of the hairpin, a phenomenal way to take that line. They to go through the through the tunnel down towards the Nouvelle Straight. I'm going to start calling it now because they just don't take the chicane whatsoever. Flat out kick. No, it's not even a flat out kick. It's just completely straight in towards Portier. We go, and the closest battle is currently between the 2 Scarlet Ferraris, and there is a lap car of the Mercedes. I do think that might be it is Nuclear Nadal. Will Gibson as well will be slowly closing up soon. Joseph as well starting to close up on Will Gibson. The Racing Bulls. Oh no.
We've had a pit manoeuvre executed to perfection by one of the V cars. I think that was D'Amico. Was that D'Amico? That was D'Amico. So P2 has pit manoeuvred Will Gibson in P10. Neither of the cars have come off well here, and that's something that is going to be heartbreaking. Will Gibson's been said, well, I want to drive backwards. Will, feel free. We'll watch you for a lap.
I don't know if driving backwards is allowed, but...
Not allowed?
I mean...
I thought you meant like reversing for a lap.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah, do not drive backwards, please, Will, because, I mean, I don't know what could happen. Oh, as he comes out on the pit lane, the McLaren, and the Haas completely soaring through. Will Gibson now side by side with the McLaren. I think that's Luca Rapassa, actually. And something that I'm now going to remember, TK, these two have got a bit of history so far this event. Remember back to Austria, they had all the controversy, collisions, and then in Texas they had the dueling and the dice thing. Surely maybe we're going to see a pit maneuver if Luca gets ahead of Will as Will dives it on the inside. Now Haas is put in the wall. Luca clattering into the Haas as they run side by side. Is this Alexis or is this the other Haas?
Viral.
Yeah, Viral was Will to Will's Luca Rapassa, who is now Luca Rapassa now ahead of the Haas and Will Gibson. What will he do in comparison to Luca Rapassa? Will he just wave him on by? I don't think he will. Will they fight? I think they will.
I think you're absolutely right at this moment in time. We've got just over, well, 13 and some change laps to navigate through. I'm surprised nobody has hit the flat wall at the exit of what would be the Nouvelle Chicane. Oh, I say that as DC Verrill clips the rear wheel as he makes his way through the swimming pool section, and driver in 16th place has not had a race to remember here. Formula Kai dispatching Ben Hutchins. There's been a change to the, well, what would be P2. Ollie Hornby makes it second place for the commentary team here. I think D'Amico has made his second stop, though. So this is where we're starting to see the tactics come in. Well, just a reminder of who's done exactly what stops here. We are still in full wet conditions here at the Principality of Monaco. No historic races going on here today, of course, not echoing what we're seeing in real life over in the sunny Sunshine Coast, but everybody has taken a different approach to what lap they're going in here, Rio. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see someone like literally last time. That's a Ferrari facing backwards. Is that Will Gibson? That is Will Gibson facing backwards. I think that was unintentional, though.
Oh, and then we see it once again. Facing the wrong way, and all the Mercedes has just collected him.
Light
The
cast.
Mercedes of light cast who's running in sixth just completely collects the spun Ferrari of Will Gibson. Into pit lane comes Ben Huskins, Formula Kai, and Mixie in their respective teams in the Ferrari, the Aston Martin, and the Kick Sauber. Niall leads this Grand Prix by 47 seconds. Into pit lane comes Ollie Hornby for a set of the I'm gonna presume intermediate time. And something I'm kind of forgetting here, it's no rules. They can't speed in the pit lane, and drivers are still seeming to slow down for it from what I've seen.
To be honest, you're making your way through that corner at such a slow speed anyway. It's probably not going to make a major difference. But also it avoids that stop-start that you get as you make your way into the pits if you enter too quickly. Oh my goodness! Who was that? Was that Alexis? No, that was the other car. That was Viral. Just hitting the car as they made their way out of Ollie Hornby. But as we were saying, yeah, if you go too quick, you'll get reset. So it actually slows you down if you don't slow down for the pit entry. It makes a little bit of counterintuitive sense when you consider it. And just to confirm my point earlier, that no one's hit the exit of the chicane, the Nouvelle Chicane, obviously that flat barrier. I've been told by Ace that people have hit it, I just missed it, which is, that's a shame, because I guarantee there would have been a car upside down if they hit that at 175 miles an hour.
I think someone actually hit on the open lap. It might have been actually the Kick Sauber of Mixie who did clatter on the opening lap. Speaking of Mixie, they are stuck at the Rascas. They've got going again. As what have you just witnessed?
I think Will Gibson, we can only describe that as being pit manoeuvred in towards. I'm trying to figure out whereabouts they are. That's just the exit of Mirabeau as they make their way in towards the hairpin. I've been tagged twice. What is going on here? Why has my name been said? Will is driving in reverse. Funny that, I'm on board with him.
This is an absolute masterclass in driving. Look at this supreme skill in such sketchy conditions. Will Gibson absolutely flying down here in Monaco, trying to keep it in a straight line, using all the walls to their advantage. Maximum speed through the tunnel. Here come the cars, plummeting away. As here comes the Williams. I believe that was Ollie Hornby just flying on by. Sorry, no, that was HB Cook in the for the Audi Sports team. Will Gibson is absolutely flying here. Comes Formula Kaido, will roar by. Will Gibson clatter that flat barrier? No, he won't. Here comes Aston Martin. Oh, almost here, and then the Racing Bulls as well. And now upcoming, I believe, is Luca Rapassa in the McLaren coming in.
Oh, Rapassa's round! Oh!
Absolute chaos here in Monaco. Side by side now is Toro for the final podium position. Ollie Hornby, by the way, has made his final stop and only got 8 seconds behind.
Yeah, absolutely right. It's looking close in terms of everybody trying to figure itself out as well. Does a 270, getting himself turned around and seeing how it goes. Why is Will going backwards? Why not? Honestly, I don't blame him. This is exactly what we're here for. Entertainment. The art of charity and funny.
Yeah, excuse my language here, but it's for shits and giggles, some could say.
Exactly. And to be honest, if he manages to do a full lap backwards, I will give him a round of applause.
Well, he's making his way towards the line to begin, I believe, his first hot lap. He begun the lap at the hairpin. It's time for a hot lap in reverse as we make our way down into Sandoval, the opening corner of the racetrack. Through turn one we go. Will the Ferrari navigate it cleanly? Yes, they will. They will now very slowly climb the hill. Will the Scarlet Ferrari running in P16 for the Scarlet Ferrari team climbing the hill at 90 kilometers an hour in miles an hour. I actually don't know how quick that is. I haven't got the setting turned on. As we reach the top of the hill, Will Gibson has reached it and is setting purple lap times in reverse at least.
There he is. Of course, continuing through now as they make their way in towards what would be the casino square, the tight right hand. And spinning the car around, slamming the rear of that Ferrari into the front of Alexis Mason. That couldn't quite get it turned around to custom, as that's the V car just slotting their way through. I believe that to be D'Amico. It is indeed. Next up will be the Aston Martin. That's going to be Ben Huskins drifting themselves round the scarlet red roadblock that we're starting to see here in the Principality.
Yeah, it's amazing to watch. Who doesn't love this? Imagine if real life could do this. Is Niall with 10.8. What was the pole time? I think we might actually have beaten the pole lap time.
I think it's about 11 something, if memory serves.
So we are already ahead of the pole lap time, as Owls has been passed by the Racing Bulls driver. I think that might be D'Amico, actually, who is currently sat in P2, which they are. D'Amico making their way through the swim pool section in towards La Rascasse. Obviously, Luca Rapassa still has to pit in this Grand Prix, but TK, it seems to be going good for the commentary team. They are currently still net P3 in the Grand Prix.
Certainly are. Waiting on Rapassa, of course, to make his second and final, hopefully, pit stop of the race, and waiting for Nuclear Nadal as well to join them. We do see the Papaya team just preparing their car, and that's a fresh set of the intermediate boots going on to Rapassa's car, and through goes Ollie Hornby up towards the podium positions. It will be, I believe, the commentary team's best finish of the race so far. D'Amico making it second for FST and La Hotel, with Niall got just absolutely running through and running away with this race, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, obviously, with rules, without rules, he's just a Monaco master, isn't he? He's a Monaco maestro. It could commemorate him to Ayrton Senna, just how good Ayrton was as well around Monaco. Niall just finds that extra level of pace compared to the rest of the field. I was just thinking here, because it's no rules, right? Imagine you're side by side on the XA Rascasse. What if you just give your competitor a little swipe into the pit lane?
I mean, it wouldn't be the most unfair thing in the world to do. I think we'll look at it from that perspective. I will point out, though, here that everybody from sixth place down is lapped at this moment in time. Toro is the highest running car that is not a lap down at this moment in time, so is on lap 32. Everyone else is on, I believe, lap 31 for the most part, but Toro will be being chased by Niall, who is just making his way through the Novell Straight up towards Tobacco Corner and through Swimming Pool, so it will be probably just a matter of time until Niall...
there's a Ferrari going backwards.
Say again?
There's a Ferrari actually driving the circuit backwards.
Oh, God. Will Gibson, what are you doing? Oh, no, here we go. Yep, okay. Oh, no. Oh, no, Will, what are we doing? This is the wrong way around the circuit. We've got a wild Ferrari. I may have given permission if he avoids cars. He says immediately hitting a car. Okay, there's one. Let's see how long it takes until he... But yeah, there we go. There's his Ferrari teammate that he's... Oh, and there's another. He's done a great job of avoiding cars. I'm sure this is going to go well. More cars going through. I'm going to run on board with him just to see what happens, because nobody's going to be expecting a Ferrari to go backwards during the circuit. Makes his way through the tunnel rather successfully. There's a McLaren. Yep, the head-on collision. As we were expecting. That's Luca Rapassa. Anybody else? The Kick Sauber gets their way through. They're not too unencumbered. The Alpine also just dives out of the way of one of the Mercedes. The other Sauber, very nicely done. Oh, no, there's Alexis Mason as he goes head-on into her. Back up what would be the exit, the exit of the Grand Hotel hairpin. Manages to get the car turned round and up the hill, back towards Mirabeau, if memory serves. Managed to get the car turned. No, there's the other Ferrari that he collected earlier on. And oh my goodness, he's on his side. Is he on his roof? Yes, he's on his roof. Oh, Will Gibson, he's on his roof. Oh, I shouldn't have reset to track. He should have just left himself stranded there. That would have been hilarious. He's going to restart his journey, though. That is one thing to bear in mind.
I think the game might have actually just reset once again. That is, I'm surprised that it took that long for a car to be flipped over. Like you said, his goal was to hit cars. I think he's almost hit every single car possible here in Monte Carlo going
his goal was to avoid cars. He's failed this drastically here, Rio.
Savage just punched the Mercedes. Oh, there's a blockade at the top of the hill. Will Gibson will get going again. And something is... Oh, no, here comes the Haas. The Haas pretty...
Got away scot-free on this occasion.
Something this is reminded me of. Remember Arrow's videos of like doing circuits backwards, trying to complete a lap backwards, trying to avoid their AI?
Yeah.
This is exactly what Will is doing right now. And,
Yeah, murder. Yeah, no, Williams is not surviving that.
Oh, this is sensational to watch. Who needs rules in Monaco when you can have this?
As we learned from Arrow's video, they meet them about twice a lap going backwards. That's one thing we do know. And Will just showing that he can successfully keep a car pointing in the right direction, and he's going to go for it again. He fancies another backwards lap.
Well, I don't think he'll be finishing this Grand Prix. I think of that there is no doubt. Let's talk about battles for position then. XD Joseph seems to be the closest driver in terms of fighting. Seems to be the only driver actually close to one another. As Formula Car and Alexis actually running wheel to wheel momentarily. Alexis has just tried pile driving the Racing Bulls into Kyle. It's a tactical double pit maneuver. On this occasion, though, it's not worked as they make their way down and towards turn number 1 on lap number 5 of 36. Niall leads the Grand Prix by 39 seconds. Ollie Hornby, oh my goodness me, a double move at Raskas on the lapped cars. But back to the battle for P7. Formula Kai being put on Alexis.
Oh my goodness. What am I saying? I mean, that's the greatest way that I think I've ever seen a move made in F1 25. To have it ripped out of her hands by, in no, description, but Will Gibson going the wrong way round a circuit, to then win it back, diving into Mirabeau. This is peak cinema. I'm, you know what, I'm here for it.
This is amazing, and something that I have thoroughly enjoy is that we have seen many tactical pit manoeuvres. I mean, we saw Ollie Hornby on the previous lap just try to pile drive 2 cars out of the way into the Rashcast. They were lapped cars, as Ollie Hornby seems to be set for a podium finish here. My question is, Will Gibson still going the wrong way around?
Yeah.
Of course he is.
Yes, he is.
And he's hit another car.
That he has, and I think that time it was Light Cast, the driver in P6, now 2 laps down. Still 1 lap down. Everyone from, let me try and figure this out. I think that's going to be Milan further down, so 9th and below, as Milan sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1:10.4. A fantastic lap from our drivers. They are 2 laps down on race leader. Anyone from 12th down, which is Nuclear Nadal, is 3 laps down. Will Gibson is 9 laps down on race leader.
Oh my goodness me. That is, there he is again, and the Red Bull's been caught up, and oh no, Ben's spun around Joseph. They're going to run side by side up the hill. This is the first side by side we've seen for position in a long time, but here comes HB looking for the move as well as they go through the top of the hill, but in this occasion they'll all stay line astern, and this is absolutely phenomenal racing here in Monaco. This is what we need for every single Monaco Grand Prix. It's just utter chaos.
I wouldn't say every single race, because I think there is some art of dodging the walls in Monaco, but certainly on occasion I can see the appeal of this, and certainly trying to hold off competitors. We've still got the battle going on between Alexis and, of course, Formula Kai, as, again, another V-Cub getting involved, but this time in the favour of Alexis Mace as they make their way through what will be Anthony Knowles and up towards Sandoval once again to start off lap 37 of 39. We've got 3 laps remaining here in Monaco, and we're definitely on track to be one of the fastest Monaco Grand Prix that I think has ever existed.
Oh my god, there's a pile up in the swimming pool section just before Rashkas. There's 3 cars piled around.
Oh my god.
My word. Will Gibson has just completely went stationary on the circuit and it's collected 4 or 5 cars. Poor them, but then it's actually quite funny to witness.
It certainly is, and I don't know what he's managing to do here, because he is trying to dodge cars and inadvertently, I think, steering into them. There's definitely a car coming out of the tunnel, but I'm calling it now. Watch, here comes the Haas car. Bang. Oh, okay, he's done well. He's found a barrier. There's more, though. There we go. Yeah. Someone is getting a finger broken. That's all I'm saying. If someone hasn't turned down their force feedback at this moment in time, I'm worried for him.
That is the micro, by the way, who's been spun. And I'll tell you who's on their way. Ollie Hornby is making their way through the tunnel down towards the Nouvelle Straight, which it is now being called. But the gap's just not close enough for Ollie Hornby. Looking for third. I think third is set in stone. As where is Niall? Oh my God, Niall's got 3 lap cars ahead of him. They run wheel to wheel. The lap car's right in front of Niall, Red Bull and McLaren. I don't actually think this is for position. This is just complete randomness as we head through the Nouvelle in towards the back. Oh my God, there's just punting happening everywhere. Will Niall clatter into the wall? No, he won't. He will just continue to watch his battles. The Red Bull, oh my word, on the inside round goes the Red Bull. Through goes Niall, and that is position still held. I believe that was Luca Rapassa.
It was indeed Luca Rapassa, the last of the top 4 to get themselves pit through. Ollie Hornby is in second place. You're absolutely right there, Ace, as we just see Will Gibson going the wrong way around the circuit. But it is the Williams that manages to get up on the penultimate lap, and we have got Niall starting the final lap of racing. Can Ollie Hornby hold on for a commentary team best result here so far? There's still battling going on as D'Amico is determined to try everything that they can do to try and disrupt this P2, sends it down the inside as they head through Portier Corner. Through the tunnel they go and up towards the Nouvelle Straight. Oh, it's a spin around. D'Amico loses out. Ollie Hornby almost certainly now, unless we see a mistake down the line, will absolutely continue to gain points for commentary team. And look at this, Rapassa on the back of Toro, 3 wide through Portier. The Red Bull gets involved and Rapassa's through.
What a move by Luca Rapassa. No rules bringing all the action here in Monte Carlo. But one thing is for certain, Niall in the final sector. Will Gibson's almost connected them as they go through the swimming pool section for the final time. With the rules, without the rules. One thing is for certain, Niall is going to be at the top step of the Monte Carlo podium as through Anthony knows for the final time. Le Hotel are going to win again, and in the Principality, in the Chaos Monsoon, it's Niall winning the Monaco Grand Prix, and a country mile ahead of the rest. Everyone, apart from second and third, TK, was lapped.
They absolutely, well, yeah, you're absolutely right. Everybody in and amongst this field was at least 1 lap down, if not further. Will Gibson was 12 laps down by the end of his shenanigans. I'm surprised it's honestly not more. I wonder if that will update when the race. I wonder if it'll even classify because he's so many laps down when the race finishes. I'm curious to see what the game says in terms of that, because technically going backwards doesn't negate your laps. It doesn't knock them further down. But Ollie Hornby, take a bow, you young man. You have scored quite possibly one of the best results that I think we've seen for the commentary team in the moment as he comes up towards the line. The Red Bull racing car right on the line. I believe that to be XT Joseph just doing donuts in somewhat celebrations and or commiserations. But P7 for Alexis Mason, that surely has to be a moment where they turn around and go, you know what, I've turned up today, I've scored good points. Should be very happy with that. D'Amico comes across the line to round out the podium, and Ben Hoskins for Formula Zero Racing will drift past the Rebel, who is still giving us a show as we await the imminent arrival, as so many people do, of the notorious McDonald's man himself, that is Will Gibson.
We have a 1 minute and 30 remaining until the session will be done. Will Gibson, when he crosses the line, obviously it won't classify him because he has done that many laps backwards. But Joseph has actually still yet to cross the line. Where is Joseph? Oh, he's doing donuts at the final end on the main straight.
Yeah, he absolutely is. And as you said, we need to wait for Will Gibson to actually cross the line correctly in the right orientation, at least for one time, as he comes through and overtakes Joseph right at the final time. No, he's got to go for an entire another lap. Which, by the look of it, I think he has crossed the line, unless I've got the wrong Ferrari that's going through. No, he's got to go for at least one more flying lap, so it didn't quite count. I think we are going to have to wait for the countdown to conclude in totality here in the Principality. But just to run through your complete order, it was Niall from Ollie Hornby, from D'Amico, Luca Rapassa, Toro, Lightcast, Alexis Mason, it's Formula Kai from Milan, from Ben Hoskins, Joseph, Nuclear, Nadal, Owls being HB Cookie representative, DC Viral, and of course it was then Mixo TV, Will Gibson finishing in 16th place, and of course one retiree from the session, which is somewhat impressive. Of course, I think that was Liam Stevens with the issues. He's going to get DSQ'd, according. Yeah, I think you're right. But you've already said you're going to give points for P16. as Tomaiko leaves the session, which could mess with our results, which could be really frustrating. But Niall picks up the race win. Fastest lap is Milan, and driver of the day and most overtakes goes to Alexis Mason. So pat on your backs for yourselves for those results. And here we go in totality. The results and the order. Liam Stevens, did class Will Gibson as a DNF. Shock horror to everybody watching along at home. But I believe there will still be points for the young man. Because again, law of funny overrules the rule of sweat.
Yeah, that was absolutely sensational to watch, and obviously, what a surprise! It's Niall on the top of the podium in Monaco. But one thing is for certain: do not go anywhere, because we have got plenty of racing upcoming. I believe it's Las Vegas. It's Vegas or Japan up next.
Well, I'll tell you what, Rhea, we can go and have a look.
Oh, we'll have a look. Of course, we'll have a look.
Why don't you take us
It is
through?
Las Vegas.
Well, why don't you take us through the complete order that we've got for the rest of the morning? But until we see you, do not touch that dial. We will be right back. And for myself, butt cancer.